Welcome to another episode of the Fireside podcast. I am your host, Righteous, and joining with me is Dan from GCCE All Smite, which I think I'm pretty sure you're teamless now, right? You're looking for a new home. Um,
Yeah, I actually just had tryouts with Atlantis 2 nights ago.
okay, awesome. Well, I don't know.
So
I have
yeah,
no, I have no insight as to how that went, but hopefully you get in.
no,
Pretty
I was
awesome.
playing with Deadly and everybody a couple of nights ago, so
Cool.
that was fun.
Cool. But if you guys need a jungler slash fill extraordinaire, hit our boy Dan up because he's rip roaring ready to go. Um, so Dan, thank you, of course, for joining me today.
Of
Um,
course,
he
thank you for having me.
he's a little incredulous because I just told him we're not doing power rankings, and so I have to tell everybody. I thought I was clear in the general chat, but for those that aren't constantly on their Discord, the reason why I don't do power rankings in playoffs is because we lose teams each week, and so if I were to keep doing power rankings, we would get to a point that during finals there's only two teams to power rank, and then it would probably just be the team that wins on at number one and the team that loses at number two. But um, so that's the reason why I don't do it. Continuing through power rankings, of course, we are going to talk about the performances of each player as we go through the match results and the recap, and then we're going to do the predictions as well. So it's going to be a little bit lighter. Sorry to disappoint. Everybody was looking forward to some power rankings, but you guys can do that on your own in the general chat, and then I'll just approve or deny whether or not you have good takes. That'll be fun. But
That'll
um,
be interesting.
yeah, we'll see. But for the recap, a quick overview on your screen, you will have the updated bracket. So in the GCCE Civil War, Belmonts took the victory 3-1. Feed the Dream is
Yes.
going to be matching up against them in the semifinals, taking a 3-0 victory over Forge Esports Mjolnir. Solus Gaming took, I believe, a 3-0. Let me double check.
We won
3-1
over
victory
Calypso's.
over
Yeah.
Calypso's. And then we had a banger of a series. Silver Scrapes, Game 5. KOKG takes it over Phantom Troop Lucifer. And so, if I had done this correctly, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to show the match results on. Yep, there we go. Cool. I'll just crop that and crop that. Boom. Look at how professional we are. So we're going to go in order as they were posted. Dan knows the drill. He's come prepared. We're going to start with that Feed the Dream Forge Esports Mjolnir series. Looking at their game one, I mean, maybe should we pull up drafts since this is going to be kind of a lighter. Um,
Yeah, I like that idea. I like pulling up drafts here.
all right, let's do that as well. Uh, Here's the drafter link. Awesome. Okay. I don't pay for ad blocker, so we're just gonna have those ads on the bottom running the entire time. But looking at this game one draft, Feed the Dream on blue side, but with second pick. Mjolnir opting for first pick. Um, or I guess it was Feed the Dream that opted for second pick. Either way, it's blue side second pick. So it was a Caitlyn to open up the draft, favorite of DT Dubs. Jinx, the answer into Caitlyn, which is kind of interesting to me. So usually when you see Caitlyn into Jinx, it's the opposite. Caitlyn is picked into Jinx as a lane nullifier because she does outrange the Jinx and gets pushed in the early game. So kind of an interesting take from Feed the Dream to answer Jinx into Caitlyn. And then paired with an immediate Taric. So Jinx Taric, not a lane that we typically see. Usually with Taric, you'll see some more aggressive ADs like the Samiras, the Nylas, the Tristanas of the world. Um, so kind of an interesting pairing to open up the draft. Mjolnir responds with Mundo, Victor, and then Ari for Feed the Dream to round out the first three picks.
Yo.
Um, so looking at that first half of the draft, I know I didn't talk about bans too much. We could talk about bans if anything sticks out to you, but it seems pretty pretty stable picks in the meta slash comfort champions for both these teams. But
Yeah.
looking at the first half of the draft, I mean, who do you think's in the driver's seat heading into the second half?
Um. Honestly, I think FTD's in driver's seat here.
Okay.
Ari into Victor. It's a fine lane.
Mm-hmm.
It's annoying to play as for both sides. I played it game 4 into Buckby from the side of Victor. So it's a whatever lane.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like crazy. Caitlyn into Jinx Tarek feels like it could be rough in my eyes. And then you have a Mundo, but you also have a Jinx, and then you still like there's just a Mundo there.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm curious. I mean, obviously, Feed the Dream ended up taking this game, but I think through first three picks, I kind of like Mjolnir's thinking, right? So you have a lot of poke, a lot of disengage, and a lot of range between
Yeah,
Caitlyn, Mundo, and Victor. Into
yeah,
Jinx, Tarek, Ari, of course, you have a playmaking duo with the Ari Tarek, right? Like Ari goes in, gets the
yeah.
charm, followed by a Tarek stun. That's all cool and dandy. But that leaves kind of Jinx susceptible, and Jinx doesn't really like the poke. So I like, and I'm gonna kind of segue this into the second half of the draft. I kind of like what Feed the Dream did, where they basically say, "Hey Jinx, like, sorry, but our team identity, like, we have to go in to try to close the gap into what's been picked by Mjolnir." So Jinx kind of sticks out to me as like like we picked this, and then we kind of like, figured out like, oh,
Yeah,
this,
we've kind of like figured out, hey, this isn't actually what we want to do,
yeah.
so you're on your own now.
Yeah, and they kind of double down on this engage, right? So we
Yeah,
have
with the
Mbessa on 4 for Feed the Dream. 4G Sports Mjolnir rounds out their comp with Karma Malphite. And Malphite's a little curious to me. Blind.
Malphite's curious to me, and then this is where I want to talk about bans.
So the Jarvan on 5th pick for Feed the Dream.
This
Um,
is this is the part of ban phase where I want to talk about it.
okay, yeah.
Going Mundo early, perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm.
I think I know J Dog loves his Mundo.
Yeah.
Knowing Raining plays Mbessa, you can't let it through.
Okay.
It's it's such a I don't play a lot of top lane, but when I do, this is one of the matchups I will always take. It's kind of like the same if I'm like playing mid and for some reason there's a Malphite mid, I'm playing Silas.
Mm-hmm.
Or same goes for top lane. I'm locking Silas into Malphite.
Yeah.
It's either Mbessa or Gwen, and seeing neither one of those banned and just leaving your Mundo up for such a hard counter pick just feels really weird to me.
So I'm curious. I'm gonna click over just to see. So is JD the pilots it in top lane, which is
It
interesting to me,
is.
because with that Malphite on 5 for Mjolnir, I thought that would have been an excellent flex for the Mundo to go jungle and have Malphite match Mbessa. Does that make
I would
sense?
have loved that. I would
I,
have
I think that
loved
would have been
that.
awesome.
Yeah,
Um,
I would have loved that so much more because then, like, the lane's still not amazing, but it's not anywhere near as bad as Mbessa Mundo is
Yeah,
for
and
the
it's a great
Mundo.
nullifier. You're going to be stacking armor anyways. You can utilize the passive. If she ever trades, you just look for a grass proc. You're never going to
Yeah,
die. Um,
yeah, but they decided to go Mundo into the Mbessa, which to
yeah.
me is it's just weird that if you're planning on like if you there's even the slightest decision, like let's say we get to uh be R2 pick here
Mm-hmm.
and I'm Mjolnir and we lock in Mundo. If there's any hesitation that this is a flex between top jungle,
Mm-hmm.
in my eyes, I'm still banning Ambassa because I'm not positive. I didn't have to do any scouting for like
Yeah.
raining, but I played against Mjolnir at one point
Mm-hmm.
for a scrim, so I did scouting for them. But I don't know if Raining plays Gwen or not, but it's the
Yeah.
same. Like if we when I was on JRCC, when we were early picking Mbessa, if it ever got let through, or like when I've been early picking it throughout like scrims and stuff as of late,
Mm-hmm.
there's always going to be a Renekton ban.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's playing for a flex to give me the Mbessa, or if we're giving it to our top laner. Just that like in case, hey, we
Yeah.
like something else better here, they don't have to play into the one of the worst matchups.
Yeah, I would have much rather seen this Mundo get flexed, and then like even if it's not a Renekton, which I don't know if JD actually can pilot comfortably, the Malphite would have been fine for me because if you look at like the mid bottom side of the map, Malphite just kind of nullifies no Mbessa. He's gonna get farm. He's not gonna die. He'll be fine. If Jarvan ever
Yeah,
comes up, he'll have access to ult just to leave. But then on the mid bot side, you have Mundo that kind of enables what the Victor and Caitlyn Karma lane will like want to do, right? He puts
yeah,
himself up as a wall. He gets enabled by the Karma. He has follow up damage with both Victor and Caitlyn. He can kind of run the map with those kinds of pairings. So a little bit of a blunder from Mjolnir not to opt for that swap. I get it, right? It's playoffs. JD's most comfortable champion is Mundo, but we have to realize that Feed the Dream's going to be doing extensive scouting. Like, you have a whole week to prepare for this opponent. It's playoffs. They don't want to, mess it up. And so the fact that they were able to read this, pick the Ambessa, knowing that this Mundo is probably going top, and then Mjolnir not either not be willing to pivot or not able to pivot is kind of a tough look. And then Jarvan to round out this comp, like I said, picks 2 through 4 for Feed the Dream. Jinx kind of stands out to me like, hey, this could have probably been, if you're gonna opt for a short range AD carry, anyways, it could have been a Kaisa, it could have been a Ziggs, would have been awesome. It could have been a whole bunch of different things. The Jinx is kind of weird, but other than that, Feed the Dream is all about engaging, closing the gap, making sure these champions can't poke, and they're gonna out damage you when they do so. So, I really like what
yeah.
Feed the Dream ended up drafting here, and it translated to this game one, right? So you look at downfall.
And
I say, downfall on this AD carry. Jinx kind of sticks out as like misplaced from the team comp, but was able to do very, very well with so many backline threats. Mjolnir has to take that into account when setting up these team fights, right? It's not like Pambi can just
yeah,
decide to go in on the Malphite because he really doesn't have that much follow up damage. Yes, he has a lot of poke, and yes, he can, set up a team fight and hope that they're able to burst somebody down, but there's not a lot of burst damage in this comp. There's not a lot of DPS as
no,
well. It's all about the poke and playing fights slow.
yeah,
Malphite doesn't really do that well.
especially when you have full tank Malphite on top of that with
Yeah.
the Mundo.
Hmm.
Y- And to me, I don't know. I haven't been paying too much attention to the Mjolnir games, but at least from when I played against Pambi, Pambi's a very, very solid jungler.
Yeah.
I loved playing against Pambi.
Yeah.
I
He's.
would have liked to see him on something that's more with already taking the Mundo.
Hmm.
If you're not taking this Malphite as a potential flex, I
Yeah.
would have liked to see Pambi on something more damage oriented, not like true carry, but like something that can still put out, like maybe like a Zinzao or something.
Zin would have been pretty nice. I think the problem that Mjolnir's comp kind of found itself in is that they don't have a bunch of hard CC for these very mobile champions of Feed the
Yeah.
Dream, and they can't play their comp fast, right? They have to play slow. And if you're unable to
Yeah,
lock down
it's
these
all
champions,
poke.
then like I mean honestly, like I know it's not a Pambi pick, and I know you said like you would have liked to see some carry here. It definitely would have shored up like their damage problem as a extended fight would continue. But like something like a even just like a Maokai here would have probably done wonders in order to like build that front line and make sure that pot upgrade and DT dub could actually lay down some damage before these fights
Yeah.
started. Just something to dissuade, Raining Wolves on Abessa, Rainster on this Ari, Lily on the Jarvan, to dissuade them from engaging because right now Mjolnir's comp they don't have the tools to deal with a hard engage, right? There's no hard
Yeah,
CC. Like, yes, Pambi can look to ult one person or maybe a couple people, but they're too mobile. They're not going to find a 5-man ult very easily. Shelby Chernobyl with this Taric is going to have an ult anyways, to cover a lot of the damage. And so from 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 what I can tell, just by looking at the sheer amount of like tower difference, the two barons, the three dragons to two, like Feed the Dream would show up to team fights or like objectives and fight fast and not allow Mjolnir to really have a response. And
yeah,
they led to an
Mjolnir didn't
overwhelming
have
victory.
time
Yeah.
to let up. The other pick I would have loved to see Pantheon in this game would have been Poppy.
Poppy would have been good too, for sure. Just anything to
You
dissuade that engage, right?
Yeah, I mean, and like obviously Poppy's very much seen as like, hey, they picked J4. If you can play Poppy, you lock in Poppy.
Yeah.
But you already have Ari and Mbessa on the enemy team.
Hmm.
I think Poppy's just so strong in this game.
Yeah. So I think this first game probably led to some rattled nerves for Mjolnir, right? Because you go in as
Yeah.
a favorite, right? Being a higher seed, being what is perceived to be a more quality upper part of their division, in terms of those top three teams. Like you feel like you're battle tested, you feel like you're hardened and ready, to kind of have a draft that like flops, in my opinion, and then get beat in the manner in which they did. Right, it was almost a 9,000 gold difference between these two teams. That's like Feed the Dream showing up and really punching them in the mouth, right, and kind of get them off kilter, which is exactly what you need to do as an underdog, right? Like you just need to play with confidence and play to what your strengths are. And it seems like Feed the Dream did exactly that in this game one. Um, we're gonna move on to game two just because I don't want to take
Yeah.
the entire day. So Feed the Dream on blue side once again, but this time Forge Esports Mjolnir is the second pick. Feed the Dream opens up with a Mel. Brand Ezreal, the response from Mjolnir into Ash Leona, followed by a Scion on 3 by Mjolnir. Kind of an interesting first half draft from Mjolnir. I don't think Brand is something that we've seen them pilot in any of the previous regular season games. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I'm pretty positive it hadn't been picked by Mjolnir this far. So this is like a prepared pick for playoffs. I'm just struggling to see through three picks what the theme of the comp Mjolnir is trying to build into, right? Feed the
My
Dream is
my
pretty
thing is
easy. It's just like we're gonna show up, we're gonna poke, we're gonna have a lot of CC. We're not gonna let Mel or Ash get hard engaged on. But Mjolnir is just like, I guess there's a lot of damage with the front line, but that's about
yeah,
it.
just stand behind Scion.
Yeah,
Let Brand Ezreal do their thing while they stand behind the Scion.
yeah.
That's what it looks like to me off the first three. But yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat as you.
So we have Shyvana picked up by Feed the Dream, as a source of engage, some damage as well. Alistar going to be the pick for Mjolnir, followed by a Diana. Or sorry, Alistar was first, then Shyvana Cho'Gath, and then Diana was the last pick. So for Feed the Dream, once again, it's a pretty stock standard front to back team fight. You have an engage tool with the Shyvana, but you also have the ability for Ash to use her ultimate or Leona to use hers to really look for some potential engage angles. And then, I mean, if you look at Feed the Dream side, it's going to be very hard for any type of engage to really stick because you have a lot of slows, you have a lot of CC, you have the silence from Cho'Gath and knockup, you have all these things. And I look over at 4G Sports Mjolnir side and the Diana, like how does the Diana function, right? Unless they find a pick like opportunity or like some side lane play. I just feel like in a straight up 5v5, it's gonna go Feed the Dream's way once one of these, potential carries, either Brand, Ezreal, or Diana go down.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with that.
So we're gonna go ahead and look at this second game. The MVP of this game definitely has to be Rainster, right? 11, 2, and 6 on this
Yeah.
Mel. It was a little bit closer of a game. Pretty low in the towers and for both these teams. However, for Feed the Dream, it looks like once they start hitting that 30-minute mark, all you need is a team fight ace in order to be able to end, right? So while the game was close, it was even in dragons, it was even in barons. Feed the Dream was able to open up the map, and then my guess is they eventually found a team fight win, into taking this game too. Um, like I said, a bit better of a showing from 4G Sports Mjolnir. No egregious inting. It just seems like once again, if you look at their team comp, like Pam BJD, they want to go in, but who are they really engaging on? Who can they get past, right? It's going to be pick or bust, I feel like. And then
Yeah.
in a straight up 5v5, just the damage like alone, like DT Dub is going to have to do a ton of work in terms of DPS uptime in order to make this comp go, and it just seems like it didn't happen.
Yeah. I mean, I, she kind of said everything I would have said and or thought of. So
Yeah.
the only thing is like, I mean, yeah, actually, no, there's nothing. I mean, the only thing I see that's like blatantly like glaring to me is the 9-2 towers on the side of FTD.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, and it seems like Sign has kind of been a staple for the last, several weeks leading up to MSI, and then he gets his nerf, right before that tournament. I
yeah,
was curious why nobody was picking Cho'Gath in the champ, because I feel like Cho'Gath is just such a great Scion counter, right? Scion never looks to
yeah.
Q, you have your Q, right? Like Scion never looks to it like use abilities or play onto you. You have a silence, you have slows on your E's, and if you just get a little bit of attention, like an early rotation gank, and get a little bit of a lead, like Scion can't play. And so my guess is that's exactly what happened, where JD went down either in the early or the early mid game, and Raining Wolves was able to put a lot of side lane pressure on, right? Because who's gonna kill him realistically? It's not gonna be
I mean,
JD. Like you're
your
gonna have to
best
send two or three.
chance is
Y-
Brand.
Yeah.
If your best chance is Brand just kiting literally everything
hmm
and just slinging spells, but
And
it's still gonna take a second to kill him.
yeah, so looking at the gold discrepancy, right? Like obviously Raining ends up ADCS over JD, and my guess is JD goes, I can't match this guy in sides, right? Which leads to kind
Yeah,
of that tower discrepancy. JD
yeah,
looks for fights. As long as Feed the Dream is on the same page and saying like, hey, Raining's getting free push on sides, like we don't have to engage unless there's an objective up. Like that to me is a great way to play a counter matchup, right? And it's not like Raining locked Gwen or some kind of high damage carry into
no, he's
JD.
playing Cho'Gath.
He's playing Cho'Gath, but he still gets the counter and he still is able to run with it effectively, and find that 3K gold lead, right? So once again, credit to Feed the Dream. And at this point, whenever you're down 2-0 in a best of 5, like spirits are pretty low, I would say.
Yeah,
Right? Like,
spirits are gonna be low. I mean, there's always, hey, we can reverse sweep, but spirits are gonna be low.
yeah. So, let's see how Mjolnir ultimately responded in this game 3. So once again, Mjolnir has second pick. Feed the Dream opens up with a Senna. Kaisa Nautilus, a tried and true combo for Mjolnir, is insta locked. Followed by Urgot Milio for Feed the Dream into a third pick Orn, for Mjolnir. This is the first core 3 uh, of a draft from Mjolnir that I'm, personally like a big fan of, right? Obviously,
Yeah, no, I was gonna say this is the first time I think I've really favored Mjolnir's side
yeah.
in the first three.
Yeah, send Emilio. I mean, Emilio is considered a Nautilus counter, right? If you could time the kick, the Q with Nautilus Q, Nautilus can't follow up with that auto to really lock down. And you're
Yeah,
gonna have a bunch of sustain between Senna and Emilio, right? But they are weak sided. Like Kaisa and Nautilus, if they ever find an engage angle, like Senna and Emilio are at threat to die, so they have to tread carefully. They know they're gonna scale, but They're not gonna have a lot of pressure. And then this Urgot pick, blind. This is kind of where I would say for IBSG, this is where like if you're confident in your picks and you're playing into what one might consider a tank merchant, you can get away with this kind of draft, right? Just the
Oh
Urgot
yeah.
blind and no coverage bans in the first three. It's Syndra volley. I guess the volley could potentially be a top lane ban, but that's a Pambi ban. And
Yeah, it's
zero F.
Syndra Volley's there.
He's
And then
basically
you don't even take cover bans in the next two either.
well, because Orn's already picked, right? So
Yeah.
there's no point. But like he's basically slamming Urgot and saying like, "Show me what you got," right? And to match it with an Orn, like yes, I like Mjolnir's draft in terms of like team fight potential, but we just saw a game in which Raining Wolves was able to get the better of JD in the top lane, and then we're opting into a pick that yeah, it can kind of nullify Urgot for the first few levels up until the mid game, but it's never gonna win out, and Urgot's eventually gonna get pressure into this pick, right? And that's
Yeah.
as IBSG, that's where I feel like we kind of have to look inward at ourselves as a player and kind of say like this is kind of unacceptable, right? In a comp setting, that this guy can just slam something and I have no answers into it. Um,
Yeah.
and so it's tough, right? Because we're IBSG, like we're trying to figure out the game. We're working on picks, but we're also trying to figure out team wide macro and like we got to tie the comp together. So like I'm not calling out JD at all. All I'm saying is like if you ever want to take the next step, a scenario like this just shouldn't be able to happen, right? We should have answers. We should be prepared, especially in a playoff series. So um, Vi is the pick for Mjolnir on 4. Trundle Lissandra slammed 4-5 for Feed the Dream, followed by Hawaii on 5th pick for Mjolnir on red. And here's where the draft gets interesting because like you look at Mjolnir's side, right? You have a bunch of damage, you have some good follow up. Vi has a bunch of buddies that she can make plays with. This Trundle pick to me is just huge. It's such a good Vi counter. If the engage doesn't stick and now you're just pillared, if Vi doesn't have flash, she has no way out, right? Nautilus is a support where if the engage doesn't stick, I have no way out. And Trundle Lissandra, you're basically covering for the weakness that is Seta Milio. Urgot's going to be on side. And, like, I just have a feeling that Mjolnir was never able to burst down and kill their priority targets. And then once they've engaged into the fight, they can no longer get out and feed the dream with the slows from Senna, with the slows from Lissandra, with the chase down from Trundle. I mean, that to me is a great draft from Feed the Dream where they see the identity of what Mjolnir's trying to accomplish and they say, okay, if you don't make your engage stick the very first time you do it, we will punish you. And my guess is that is exactly what they did.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I You kind of wrapped it all up in what I would have wanted to say.
Okay. So looking at this draft screen, I've done a lot of talking, and I want you to be able to fill in here.
No, you're
Uh,
good.
there's a couple things that stand out to me, but I want you to have a look at the land. We don't have access to the towers and everything like that because it's just the post game screen. But from what the information from what we're given, what are some things that stand out to you, Dan?
Um, I don't know, maybe the 16K gold diff.
Yeah, that's
That
that's definitely something.
that that stands out to me.
Yeah.
And I mean, like we just said, spirits are going to be low going into game 3 0-2.
Hmm.
So it's not unexpected for teams to lose 3-0 once they are already down 0-2.
Yeah.
But I don't know. 16K is just crazy high to me.
Well, and you're looking at the kill differential, right? I'm assuming there's a big tower differential. I let the
Yeah,
pod
I mean,
agree, doing the most damage in the game, despite being in the losing effort. My
wait a
guess
moment.
is the answers in Defeat the Dream were so good. And that really you're basically pinning your hopes on DT Dub and RKO getting out of laning face ahead. Unable to do so, right? My guess is that Lily made a really concentrated effort to match Pambi on this Vi, because if she's there whenever Vi goes, they will win, right? With the access to
Yeah,
that pillar, or they're at least
yeah,
burning sums and they're not dying, right?
yep.
Um,
I mean, it's just such an unplayable matchup.
hmm and a one-sided result like this can only be a handful of things, but my guess is 4G Sports went at the bot lane early. Billy was prepared for it. They weren't able to get that lead that they needed, and then we had, by we I say Feed the Dream. Feed the Dream had so many answers into what Mjolnir was preparing here for this game three that
Yeah,
they just really couldn't do anything.
yeah, and like you were saying, the real hope out of Mjolnir in this game is that Kai'Sa Nautilus come out of lane ahead.
Mm-hmm.
But then you go look at the top side of the map,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and you see a 9-0 and 7
Yep. Yeah. Like I
And
said, I mean,
at any point in this game, Kai'Sa's just kind of cooked. Lysandra is and alt Kai'Sa,
yep.
and Kai'Sa doesn't like. I'm not actually sure if cleanse would clear you from it, but
It would. It's not a
yeah,
suppression, so I mean, you'd be able
yeah,
to
and
cleanse with
you don't have
CC.
cleanse on it on
Yeah, no
Kai'Sa, so you're just
Mikhails.
insta dead. No
Mm-hmm.
Mikhails, no cleanse. You're just insta dead if Lysandra wants you dead.
Yeah. Plus,
This game just seems really hard to play as Mjolnir.
yeah. Plus, in reality, Feed the Dream pretty much never needs to group unless they're playing
No,
for an objective, right? Like Raining Wolves.
no.
I don't know how
Raining
much of
can
an
one
impact the
v
Lily had, because obviously I didn't get to watch the games. But once Raining Wolves gets a lead, it seems like he knows exactly what to do with it, right? And he was
yeah, and
just
I
gonna
mean
push him down.
Raining can realistically, I think 1v3
Yeah,
anybody in this lobby.
yeah. Especially with the level lead, the item advantage,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, I
um,
don't think it's crazy to say that Raining would have been able to 1v3
mhm.
anybody on any three that Mjolnir sent at him.
Yeah, so I mean, I know I'm not doing power rankings, but I thought it'd be nice to send out some teams, after they've been eliminated with kind of like a report card for their split for their season. Dan, if you want to, you can join in as well. But for myself, looking at Mjolnir, right? Some things they were able to accomplish, who they were coming into the split. This is a team of 5 players that never played together before, right? Led by a Masters head coach in Shane. Every single member of the team showed improvement. I think all of them are either in plat or pushing plat.
We're like right
Um,
about to be there, yeah.
yeah, and obviously not the way that they want to go out. Obviously not a result they probably expected. But it is a learning opportunity for myself, giving like looking at this Milner team and what they're able to do. Give them a B minus, right? I think throughout the entirety of the split, we saw the skill ceiling of this team. It just seems like as time went on, their formula was kind of found out, and Feed the Dream was able to match that formula very well in this series. So a B minus for me, because you were able to do all these things. You're able to accomplish that individual growth. You're able to make a high seed into the playoffs, for a team that had never played together before. Um, but unfortunately, the way that the season ended, can't really go any higher than that B minus, right? Which is, above average. Like C is an average. Like that would be like showing up and kind of just, um, you know,
I'm here.
yeah, I'm
Yeah, it's
here
kind of
and
just like I'm here so I don't get run down by the cops. I'm just
yeah,
here and I'm clicking buttons.
yeah, and so obviously above average, for sure. But if
Yeah,
you ask them, I think they didn't meet their expectations or the results that they
but
thought they could
100
have.
100%. And I know that's true because I mean I've been talking to Pambi and me and him have been hanging out on the side. So I know that there was a lot going in. I haven't actually talked to him since the matches, I don't
Hmm.
believe, but I know that that's not what they were expecting.
Yeah. But a very solid
So
season nonetheless. Like I don't want to take anything
yeah,
away from Mjolnir. I especially don't
no,
want
100.
to take anything away from Feed the Dream because their drafts and their gameplay, like they showed up and they were ready. And so both of these teams, incredible seasons. I'm not gonna give Feed the Dream a grade yet because their season isn't over. But you know, to the Mjolnir guys, you know, really good season to put forth and to kind of build upon because at the end of the day, you know, this is a hobby. We're all trying to improve. I don't think any of us realistically have any shot or dreams of going pro. And so like if you're able to lose the series and learn from it, that's all you can hope for. So wishing them the best. I don't know what their plans are going forward, but um, you know, really good stuff from them. And for Feed the Dream, like I said, a great showing in this series. The only team to actually get a 3-0 victory. They showed they were really prepared. I really liked the idea of their drafts, and the preparation behind them, and then obviously the execution. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing what this team can do as they go
Yeah,
through
no,
playoffs.
I think this team has a strong chance to go win it.
We'll talk about that in our predictions because
I
I'm
know who they play this week too. I,
well, yeah, but I'm more curious as to who's actually going to play for Feed the
oh,
Dream.
it's that same roster. Tame and Ballistic are both done for the rest of the split.
Okay, that's breaking news to me because I had heard Tame was coming back and that it was going to
Unless
be rain or
unless I'm
downfall.
wrong. Unless I'm wrong.
I don't know.
I thought this was the
I know I know
team
Ballistic
for
is
the
out.
rest of the split.
I know
Yeah, I know
Ballistic is out.
Ballistic's out because I've talked to Ballistic
Um,
about it. But I thought Tame was also out because of everything that happened in his personal life.
with his child.
Yeah, with his
I don't know.
son.
Right? I have
I
no
thought Tame
idea.
was also out, and that's why it was that this was the roster. So okay.
So
Maybe you know more than I do
all I know is that Ballistic is definitely out. I don't know if Tame is planning on coming back or not. Right? I haven't
Yeah.
had gotten
I don't
confirmation of that.
yeah, I
Um,
don't know either one.
Raining did message me after and said I might be playing Itty next week. I don't think it was a very serious message, but what it sounds to me is like Tame is planning on
Tame
coming
wants to come
back.
back. Yeah, Tame wants to come back and
Um,
play.
but if he can't, then obviously they have a very solid squad. Not to say that Tame
Yeah.
coming back would be weaker in any way. It would just be a different look. And so I'm
100
curious. Um,
100%.
we're gonna move on to the
Solus and JRCC.
yep Solus JRCC games. So let me pull up their draft link. Uh, all right, here we go.
Holy.
Okay, so Jer, I mean,
Well,
everybody is kind of
that's
aware.
that's five mid bands.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it definitely
Yeah, that
is.
is
So obviously, everyone's kind of aware of how JRCC ended up making it, kind of the whole situation behind Atlantis being removed and or not removed, but being essentially removed. Um, and so for JRCC, this is kind of like a breath of new life, right? For SG,
yeah.
you're the number one seed, high expectations, but for JRCC, there's nothing to lose at this point, right? You didn't think you were going to be here in the first place. And so much
You
like
just send it.
yeah, much like I was saying about Feed the Dream, like you just come in with a plan and you just try to execute, right? But have fun doing so. It is a lot of mid bands, and that's something that I wanted to talk about. Um, so JRCC on blue side ends up getting second pick. So it's a Shyvana to open up the draft. I really like the Silas ban as a coverage because Silas gets Shyvana ult. He's just a better Shyvana when that happens.
Yeah. True.
So it's a good mid cover ban as well as a jungle ban. JRCC respond with Vi Misfortune, so I'm looking for some backline access with Misfortune ult over the top. kind of interesting though, because if MF ults, Shyvana is always going to be able to match with a fear almost. So, I don't.
And then you have Braum slammed into
Yep,
it.
and you have Braum shield plus ulti, and then Sivir who kind of just enables that Shyvana to go with her ultimate, right? Very good pick into the
Yeah.
misfortune. You're going to get a push. You can contend for these first drakes that Shyvana obviously wants to play for to get that stacking base stats. And then MF Nami, like once you see Braum picked, like what are we doing? Like, why are we picking Nami? Like he's going to block that
Yeah.
ult.
And to me, I don't even like picking support here.
Yeah, I mean, just pick a pairing that
I
Vi wants to play around, right? Like a
I
LeBlanc or a Talia,
yeah,
like whatever it might be.
literally anything. I just don't like keeping Linda held till last pick. I know it's kind of their main game plan. I know that Linda is kind of the carry for that team most of the time.
Yeah, for sure.
But when you're getting triple banned in phase
No,
one,
they get. I mean, they get 5 bans thrown at Linda, right?
yeah, you're gonna get 5 bans thrown at Linda, which you already got 3 bans thrown. You're gonna lose another two of their strong picks.
Yep.
In my eyes, I just see you taking one of their strong picks here.
Well, yeah, and it's essentially 6 bans, right? Because Sion is
Yeah,
the first pick of the second rotation. Mord, Yone are picked by SG. So at this point, 6 mid lane champions are off
or
the
taken off
board
the table for at least game one.
for at least game one, and Lux is the response. Now, in a vacuum, right? I just think JRCC was met with a wall in everything they were trying to do by
Oh,
SG's draft,
100%.
right?
100%.
Scion
And I
picked,
I don't
we
even
we leave buffed Mordekaiser open. Like, what are we doing? You know?
yeah, I mean,
Uh,
would we double ban Ornn Malphite?
and then pick Scion, which is interesting. So Mord is picked. Yone Blind is kind of like, hey, we've banned 5 champions that we think you'd play into Yone. So the Lux is kind of like a nullifier. So it's a whatever. Like mid lane is kind of just a wash, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Like Yone is
to
gonna
me,
struggle with the
I
poke, but once he gets one item, like he's a kill threat
Lux
to
is just
anybody. Yeah.
dead. Yeah.
um, Vi at this point doesn't really have a buddy anymore, right? Like, yeah,
No,
Lux ult could come
Vi
over the top, but that's not gonna kill anybody with.
no, you don't have anything to pair with the Vi in this game.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I just genuinely I think this game is just a draft if.
Yeah, but what's interesting about the 5 bands, obviously it's great respect given to Linda, but for this SG team, like obviously Jake is kind of like steals the show in terms of like
Oh yeah.
consistency of play, pop off performances. Like Jake is the guy for SG, but a lot of
Yeah.
times it's Jake plus Lewis in mid lane, right? And so honestly, I've tried
Yeah.
and I've heard mixed bags, like mixed results about Lewis's play. But if you look at the
I
games,
love Lou. I love Lou. It's just and I've told this to Lou. Um the problem that I have with it is Lou either hard wins lane or hard loses lane.
oh well, that's the thing. So when you look at the SG games that they won, right? Lou was
It,
usually the second
hard winning.
contributor. Well, no,
Yeah.
just the second contributor, right? Like it's not that he even like hard carried or hard won their games. It's just that it was him and Jake kind of running the show, right? Like
Yeah.
to SG's credit, like I think IDK, I think Muerte, and I think Red Panda are very good like contributors within their specific roles. But for SG, in order to be able to go and like go to finals and potentially win, it's got to be Jake plus
Jake and
Lewis.
Lou. Yeah,
Um,
it's got to be Jake and Lou.
and
And we've seen week after week Jake has the ability to do it, and it's not just like a fluke, like a one-time
yeah.
thing that Jake is like performing out of his mind. No, it's week in week out that Jake
Mhm.
is doing this.
So these 5 bands, obviously, that it's a respect to Linda, but it's also kind of like an interesting game plan from my eyes, right? It's basically let's give us our best shot at running the map as a mid jungle duo, and basically the rest of the team saying, okay, Lou, like we're gonna do this so that you can go, right? Like we're gonna make it so
Yeah,
that you have tempo, And
Yeah, no, this is 100% putting the hands in Jake and Lou.
yeah, and so
It's eliminating the big threats out of Linda
mhm.
and allowing Lou to kind of be able to play the game.
And so I think that's a, I don't know if it continues on. Like, obviously, I haven't looked at everything, but I think it's an interesting strategy from SG to kind of realize like that's kind of what we need, right? And just see five mid bands plus a takeaway in game one. It's like, oh, like this is what they're trying to accomplish, obviously, right? So that's something to keep in mind as we go through this series. Obviously, it was a 4 game series, but for this game one, um, despite Lou getting 5 bans, he still kind of struggled into Linda, right? 6-6-8 on the
Yeah.
Yone. Linda 5-3-2. Does fine, ends up being only about 1,000 gold behind in a losing effort, which I mean, in all honesty, is pretty impressive.
No,
Um,
100%. Very impressive game from
but
Linda.
but some things that we picked up on the draft, right? Old man
Jake.
hands, no good buddy, like no good buddy, right? Two eight
Yeah,
three,
ends up 283.
right?
Jake ends up 6011. Week in, week out, Jake is
Uh huh.
consistent.
And then
IDK, the Mordekaiser into Scion.
yeah,
IDK ends up 649. And then bot lane just got,
well, bot can't play, right? What are they supposed to do?
yeah,
If they
I,
want to hit
I mean,
ultimates and there's a Braum, right? Like,
yeah, like what are you supposed to do in this lane? Sivir's just going to free hit, and there's nothing you can do about it. You
mhm.
never get to take a fight.
And so, I mean, we could try to analyze this till we're blue in the face, but like, I think you summed it up pretty nicely, right? Like,
It's a draft cap.
it's a draft game one
Yeah, I
where,
think I think it's just game two.
yep. So let's go ahead and take a look. Obviously, a lot of ban attention from SG towards Linda on JRCC side, and that continues in game two. So
I like what they did here.
yeah,
They
um,
didn't they picked the obviously mid lane got shown,
uh huh.
but you still take it your mid laner early. This way they're not able to ban out a bunch more stuff.
Well, yeah, and they ban out three. Like you kind of have to prioritize what the three biggest threats are, right? So if you look at this
Yeah,
RA pick, it's Annie
Annie,
is a
Lock, Mel.
yeah. Annie's considered a counter. Mel's considered a counter, and Locke was broken on the
Just
patch, right?
yeah, yeah, Lock is very strong on the patch. I can personally say that one.
Yeah. So yes, the Vigar is locked, and I like that as a match into the Ari by JRCC, and
And
that's good on them. And I also like I can appreciate the Caitlyn pick, right?
yeah,
However, I really like what SG did. They matched with Ziggs, which is a Caitlyn nullifier slash he ends up winning after like one item. And then it's poke that Vigar can't deal with, right?
yeah.
So it's
And
coverage for
then
this Ari. Uh,
and then you have a Wukong on top
mm-hmm.
of all of that. But
Yeah.
then you get Poppy slammed into you.
Yeah, and Poppy, we were talking about Poppy as a really nice pick in Mjolnir series and in that
Yeah,
FTD
and
game.
yeah.
And same thing applies here, right? Ari Wukong obviously both have dashes. Poppy, just sit on your carries and make it so that they
And
can't play.
yeah,
Um,
and I really like this draft so far from both sides.
yeah,
Like I don't think out of the first three, I really favor a side. I think it's very neutral
yeah,
throughout
it's
the
just
first
gonna come
three.
down to the execution, right?
Yeah, and I think it's
Because
gonna come down to where you have your tanks placed and whatnot and
the
how that goes.
the biggest thing I'll say is that the Poppy, I appreciate where it was picked because it could be flexed, right? Like it doesn't have to go support. Um,
Yeah,
the
it could be jungle. This could be a three-way
uh
flex.
huh.
So I appreciate it being picked here.
The only thing I'll say is Ziggs to me is still pretty scary, right?
Oh, 100%.
Um,
Ziggs is just gonna fire from 7 light years away.
yeah,
And what do you do about it? You have Vigard Caitlyn. Ziggs is going to just outrange Caitlyn and still be damaging in fights. Like
yeah,
Caitlyn's not gonna be able to auto the Ziggs. Vigar has to get closer than Caitlyn does.
hmm
Uh,
yeah. It's
The Ziggs is just going to run this game.
that's my thing is like through first three picks. Yes, it comes out of execution, but it always does. But right now, Ziggs still kind of remains unchecked, right? Poppy doesn't really
Yeah,
have a great unless he like Poppy's finding a flank. Ziggs really isn't under threat by any of the three champions picked by JRCC, right? And when you're in a
yeah,
position like that in draft, like the expectation is at some point we're going to match what is scary, which is the zigs, and they never do that. Which to me is
no,
that's the frustrating part, right? Like I
yeah,
agree
like
that the first
you
three picks are
slam,
really good, but you have
but
to be
then you
able to round it out.
slam Orin Swine, Orin Swain.
Yeah.
Nobody on this team is getting to Ziggs.
Yep. Um.
I would have personally. I know
Mhm.
Benzi is it. I would have loved to like an Mbessa here.
Yeah, I guess it would have been fine for some backline access. I am still a little bit worried about like follow up, right? I mean, obviously, if those just one shot and you go 1 for 1, you'll probably take that. Um,
Yeah, it's just
I
like
I mean
what
honestly, and here's my thinking. I think you save support counter pick
Orin
till 5 because all you need is some kind of like a blitzcrank or a, some sort of
Thresh, Blitzcrank, anything like
ability
that.
to threaten the zigs if
I
zigs
would
ever
have,
miss positions.
and I know we just finished talking about how good Poppy is into these dash champs.
Mhm.
I would have also been so okay with seeing like a Pantheon here for jungle.
Mhm. Or even a Zinjao, right? Go in, pop the
Yeah,
ultimate.
yeah,
Um
Pantheon, Zenzao, just Jax even. Something that gives you backline access, not
mhm.
Poppy.
Yeah. So I mean, like once again, like
And
we're
then the
talking
rest of
IBSG,
it,
right? So it's gonna be a
yeah,
lot of
the
comfort,
rest of this draft is just tanks.
which
You got
it's.
Ornn, Mundo, Maokai, Swain. You got a bunch of
But
tanks.
if you look at it, right, like JRCC didn't really fill the glaring hole that they were
No,
facing in the first half. But look at what
no, they
SG
didn't.
did, right? They see
They
Poppy,
they
they see Vigar, they see Ornn, right? And they
they
slam
have
a Mundo.
put yeah, they don't have max health damage.
Well, they don't have max health damage, and Mundo loves throwing cleavers and beefy targets, right? Like,
Yeah,
and so like I love the Mundo pick into the Ornn. I think it's a great pick. Maokai to really set up the rest of this team comp, right? Because I mean, Poppy excels in canceling dashes. She can't cancel Maokai ultimate, right?
no.
And so somebody has to eat that, right? And whoever's eating that is going to get poked. Ari
Yep.
follow up, Ziggs follow up, Mundo poke, like
Yeah. And
SG.
I think this is just a very well-rounded last two picks from SG,
Yeah.
where especially when JRCC doesn't fill that glaring hole.
Yeah,
And
and then realistically, right? Like the one thing I'll say about Mundo is he scales incredibly well unless there's some kind of threat. Who's killing
like a
Mundo?
vein. Nobody.
Right? Like realistically, nobody can kill Mundo in this comp unless he gets
And
picked, right? Unless he's like 5v1. But in a
yeah,
team
and
fight,
uh,
Vigar's not gonna burst him, Kalen's not gonna be able to cut him down, and then Poppy Orange Swain are just kind of looking at him funny, you know?
yeah, they're just staring at him like, "Oh, you're gonna walk past me, and there's nothing I can do about it."
Yeah. So I really like what
This is
SG did.
this is the epitome of Mundo goes where Mundo pleases.
Hmm. So
And if we go look at the game,
yep.
you put it perfectly. Mundo, IDK on this Mundo, 8-0 and 9. Moite on the Ziggs, 9-1-15.
Yeah. I mean, they just didn't
Uh,
they didn't fill their
They
comp correctly, you know?
yeah. And bot lane, 172-175 on the side of JRCC.
Oh, and old man hands on this Poppy, right? Yes, it's a great nullifier, but after that,
But
what does Poppy do? A whole bunch of
yeah,
nothing.
292.
Yeah. So
Yeah, and Jake again, once again, 6-3-13.
yeah, very one sided. I would say like through the first three picks,
Very good.
JRCC had a chance to be able to flex something or to match like put pressure on the Zigs, blundered
But
that,
then you
and then
don't.
SG just rounded out their comp extremely
Yeah.
well.
And And when once you get to the end of this draft, I think it's just another draft gap.
Yeah, for
Like
sure.
this game was once again decided in draft.
Yeah. I mean, 27.5 minute game, 31-11 is the kill score, 9 towers to 2, and then JRCC didn't sniff a single neutral, right?
Yeah,
Didn't get a
they don't get a
Baron,
single
didn't get a
objective.
Dragon, didn't get any of
Didn't
the
get a
voids.
Herald, didn't get a Grub.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, once I genuinely just think this is another draft gap game,
yeah. So good stuff by SG so far. They do encounter some resistance, however, which was game 3. So let's take a look
which
about
is
what happened here.
there's there's what happened here was 3 out of the 5 people got their one tricks.
Yeah, so that's
And
true.
that is another thing I will say looking at game 3.
Yeah.
Obviously, I played on that team. Benzie is such a strong player when you give him the ability to facilitate his own lane and actually play it out.
Okay.
When he's not just on tank merchant duty. I think the legitimately like weak point of some of these drafts have just been you just have Benzie on perma tank duty.
Yeah.
He has shown the capability to be able to carry these games and play extraordinarily well throughout these games. But when you just put him on perma tank duty, it's just tank v tank top lane. He doesn't have the ability to make anything happen that is like extraordinary to get ahead out of laning phase to the point where it's gonna like create such a big impact on like the rest of the game.
Yeah. I will also
And
say for the SG side, they did so well the first two drafts of not losing the plot, right? They knew what their win cons were, they knew how they wanted to approach these drafts. They drafted very coherently, and then this third game, they kind of fell off the rails a little
yeah, I don't know what this draft does.
bit.
I'm looking at it. I'm really trying.
Yeah.
I I don't know what this draft does.
So
Like
it's just one of these things of like you were doing something so well. So like if you look at the previous two drafts, right? They're setting up their mid lane, right? They really
yeah.
want to focus on that mid jungle synergy. They have nice answers into what JRCC is showing, right? And so personally, I think the draft fell apart with their third ban and their first pick, right? So Seraphine
I
is a favorite pick from
I
Red Panda.
I agree.
I just think
I just don't really like taking Seraphine B1 here unless you're able to truly flex it to mid lane. With
yeah.
the fact that MF's already gone because it was played game 1 by Lucifer,
Mhm.
and you don't get to guarantee you're getting the Ash because, as we see JRCC do, they just pick Ash here.
Yeah. Which
So I don't love the Seraphine Slam.
the only way I think the Seraphine Slam is justifiable is like you said, it's flex. To me, I think it needs to be APC bot lane, and you pair it with something like a Rel, or
Yeah,
some kind of
if
like
this is
big AoE team fight support.
yeah, if you're able to put this Seraphine either in bot lane or in mid, I love the Seraphine B1.
Yeah.
But the fact that I'm gonna double check real quick. Yeah, the fact that we'll get to the actual game score in a second, but the fact that we do end up seeing it go support,
Mm-hmm. Which
I don't
I mean, JRCC to their credit, they did some scouting. They call it out. They know that Red Panda wants to pilot the Seraphine, and so they immediately lock Thresh Ash. Right, Ash is the takeaway, no longer paired to Seraphine, and Thresh is a great pick. It's
into Sarah, yeah.
into a Sarah because
And you don't have
it's soft engage. You don't have to throw your body at them, but you can still accomplish what you want to do to allow the Ash to thrive.
yeah, and you don't have like MF to pair with this at this point as well either because it was picked.
Yeah. Plus, I don't know how much SG wants to pick an MF into Ash, but what I will say is that they kind of double down on just weak siding themselves, right? Which,
By going Senna here.
if you're gonna first
Yeah.
pick something, we want a strong side, whatever that is, typically,
Yeah.
right? Like
You
you're
don't
first
want to
picking
weak
something to
side the
make it
first pick.
a focal point of your comp. And so the fact that through the first two picks on both sides, we see both bot lanes picked up, JRCC is just outright winning in the bot lane, right?
Oh,
And that's
100%.
kind of a tough place to be. Now, I do like SG's ability to flex this Darius. We've seen Jake pilot it in the jungle. I'm pretty sure that's where it ends up going.
It
Um,
does end up going there.
mhm. But
Obviously,
like
uh,
it's just one of these things that like
I just
is
don't
is
love
JRCC
Darius
afraid of
in
the
this.
Darius into with an Ash, you know?
I just don't love Darius in this
Yeah,
draft.
for sure. That's what I mean. Like,
I mean, Darius is just gonna get kited.
yeah, exactly. Into
He,
into
I,
Ash, into Thresh, like you're
and
gonna have a very
credit
hard time.
credit to Jake, he ends up playing well on it, but I just don't love Darius in this draft. You have Ash Thresh showing when you lock it.
Hmm.
I just don't know.
No, I agree.
I don't like it.
Full agreement.
I think you can. There's so many better jungle picks you can go here.
Hmm. What I really like about JRCC's drafts is like outside of being able to pick comfort, it's a coherent comp. So this Elise on three, if you look at Thresh, Ash, Elise, if they CC
So good.
someone, that person is
They're
going to
just dead.
die. And
Yeah,
looking at
if
SG's
you
comp, they have no tools
yeah,
to
they don't
combat it.
have a way to combat it. Like there's nothing SG can do if this CC change starts. They are just going to die.
Yeah.
And then
So
you also get at least locked into Darius.
yep. Which I mean, the Darius wants to be like he is in lane. He wants to be a jungle bully. Elise can basically just say, "You're never gonna touch
No.
me."
Yeah.
And so really good stuff.
And
Um,
then you see these last two picks come out from JRCC and SG with Tryndamere being Benzi's one trick,
yeah. So
his most comfortable champion.
I like Gragas blind. I'm still a
I
big
do
Gragas
too.
blind believer. Like I think he does extremely well in most
If you
scenarios.
can play the champ, I think blinding it is perfectly viable.
Here's where S SG lost the plot because I look at this team and I know it's got to be mid jungle, right? We've been talking about this.
Yeah, and then there's an Akali
Well,
into
it's a Kali
Ash
blind.
Thresh, Elise, Tryndamere.
It's a Kali blind, so you're gonna get countered or at least have some opposition in the lane itself. And
Yeah,
then we've essentially locked all of our damage into melees, into Ash, Thresh, Elise, Tryndamere. Like
yeah,
so.
like from SG, there's if you would have won this game, it would have had to been because JRCC messed up.
For sure. Yeah,
There
SG's draft
with
really
this
didn't help
draft,
themselves.
there's no way to win this game without JRCC like Omega messing up.
And then
Which we end up seeing. This is the game that JRCC ends up taking off SG.
yeah, and then to round out JRCC's pick, Diana is a favorite of Linda's. We've seen it piloted a couple times. It does fine into the Akali matchup. It actually bullies the Akali, really early, just like a ranged mage would. Akali can't
Yeah,
match the Diana early, and then SG goes in. It's just a free Diana ult, right?
yeah.
Like they have to run at you, and so for Diana, all right, sick. I don't have to look to outplay. I
I,
don't have
I
to look to try to engage
I'm
super
just
hard. I'm just gonna ult
I
them.
am just going to press my R button, and 5 people are going to get hit by my ult.
Yeah. So we look at the game.
Realistically, more so 3, because Senna Seraphine should never be in range of the other 3 to get hit by it, but it's still they have to run into you. Diana just gets to press R.
Yeah.
And if we look at the matches, Benzi goes 7-2-7 on this Tryndamere.
Yep.
IDK going 0-6-6.
Which I'm not.
Jake,
I'm not really sure how that ends up happening because I feel
I
like
don't. I'm not either.
I feel
I
like Gragas
genuinely
should just be able to
should
like,
neutralize
yeah,
this.
walk away from Tryndamere.
Yeah, I agree. Obviously, Jake, even in this rough game, kudos to Jake, man.
Yeah.
He's so consistent when it comes to these games.
Yeah, he ended up 70 farm up, but only 1,000
Yeah,
gold.
he ends up 1,000 gold up on jungle, 70 CS up. Like, kudos to Jake on this, genuinely.
Yeah.
Lou ends up 3-6-2 into the Akali matchup, down a little over 4K gold, like 4.4K gold,
I mean, but like
which,
it goes back to draft,
w-
right? He's gonna lose
yeah,
the
it,
1v1, and he can't have fun in the mid to late.
no, yeah.
So, I
Like,
mean,
I think this game is also just every game so far has just been a draft gap.
yeah,
There's no way for either the losing team to have won these games coming out of draft without like major mess ups from the opposing team.
yeah. I mean,
SG games 1 and 2, they had no way to lose those games
mhm.
without themselves messing up. And then same with JRCC here.
Yeah, and for JRCC, if you have a draft like this, all you have to do is not overplay your hand, right? You just let the comp
Exactly.
play itself, and you're gonna
And
come
that's
out
what
on
they
top.
did.
Hmm.
That's what they did, and they ended up coming out on top with a 12K gold lead at the end of the game. 9 towers. I mean, SG was able to secure Herald plus 3 grubs, so they didn't get fully shut out from jungle,
Hmm.
but not a single Drake, not a single Baron.
Only one tower. Yeah.
And to the credit of Jake, this game is just so hard to play. Like,
Yeah,
all of your lanes are losing
I I feel like
just
we
out
can
of
credit
draft.
Jake for achieving good play, but also you put yourself in that position. Like
No,
we willingly
100%.
picked
With
Darius
picking
into whatever
Darius,
should.
you put
Yeah.
yourself in that
Uh,
position, but I, even as a jungler in this scenario, you have Senna Seraphine into Ash Thresh. That's a losing lane. You have Akali into Diana. That's a losing lane. And Gragas into Tryndamere should be neutral,
uh-huh. But
but
somehow he lost
it
it.
ends up going really bad.
Yeah. So
So I I mean I think we just go to game 4 and see if we have another draft gap.
yeah,
Or
if the theme continues,
yeah, if all 4 games are just draft gaps or not.
so JRCC on red side with second pick. Jarvan slammed by SG. They go back to the tried and true method of 3 bans on Linda.
Yep.
They slam
Back to 3
Jarvan.
bands.
GRCC takes the Oriana early, which is obviously a pairing that Jarvan would have really liked. So I like that. And then Ezreal's
And
picked as well. So JRCC through first two, they take away the Jarvan pairing and they give
their ADC the ability to get out of
yep.
J4 cage.
Mm-hmm.
I really like it so far.
Yep. Jinx is the response into Ezreal. Jinx is kind of like whatever pick. It's kind of comp
Yep.
filler. And then
It's gonna do
Silas.
its thing.
Silas given to Lou. Now it's
I've seen this Silas before.
yeah, and he like what like 16 kills on it
Yeah.
the last
And
week.
like I know we've been going in an order, but I'm looking at these next 3 picks.
Yeah, so
Giga Silas game.
it's a
Holy.
it's a Giga Silas game, um, and it's still a great go-in option with the Jarvan, especially
Yeah.
when JRCC picks
When you have
Namumu into
Oriana
it,
ball.
or Namumu ult, right, or
Yeah, when you have
Ambessa,
Amumu ult, Ambessa ult, Blitzcrank ult, Oriana ult,
and so
you have 4 insane ults on Silas this game. Like genuinely just insane.
yeah, what I want to do is credit JRCC. So Blitz is picked. Tom Kench is the answer. Now, if you ask any pro, Blitz is a Tom counter, right? For bot lane.
Yeah,
The reason why is because Tom is actually pretty squishy if it doesn't have top lane gold and top lane levels.
yeah,
And it nullifies what Tom wants to do, which is ult the carries to keep them alive. Because if you pull Tom, he can't ult himself. And if you pull the carry, Tom can't get to the carry, you know?
yeah. Tom cannot
So
ult the carry
the
in
fact
time.
that SG picked Tom into Blitz kind of sus in my opinion. Um, and JRCC has a pretty clear lane to play around, which is this Ezreal Blitzcrank. You want to stock up your dragon stacking early. Oriana and Silas should get the push early. Like they have a clear identity to how to approach this early game. Now, Singed is picked. I don't know what we're doing picking Ambessa into Singed. Like Benzi's been the one to slide into my DMs asking for a bump in the rankings. We can't pick Ambessa into Singed, bro. Like that's just I mean, how do you play? I mean,
You don't
yeah.
you don't get to play this as Ambessa Descend. Like I said, this is a champion I play.
And now
Eh, You don't get to play.
if you look at your win con, which is okay, play around bot side for JRCC, I mean, it's play around bot
Yeah.
side and early stack dragons. What happens in the mid game when your Blitzcrank has two options to pull and three really horrible options?
Um your
Chances
Blitzcrank
are the Blitzcrank, unless he's really good at playing Blitzcrank and just nails mispositioning from the Jinx or Tom Kench, you're pulling not great things into your team comp, right?
yeah,
And so
100%.
so for SG, like I think the bot lane mispicks are a little bit forgivable because of how hard your top side makes up for it, right?
Yeah.
Um, where if you look realistically, if you look at this, both of these comps, if they show up to a 5v5 fight, SG should be favored, right? So
Yeah.
it's imperative that JRCC plays their early game very well and plays it to where they're able to stack dragons, right? Like that is how
I
they're
agree.
going to play a game. If they can do that, they put a lot of pressure on third and fourth Drake into a Jinx that probably hasn't been able to scale up, into a Singe that probably only has like two items at this point. If everything is stable, like if you're able to do that, you're gonna get spot, right? So let's look at what happens in this game four.
Um what happens in this game 4 is
Bot lane didn't get ahead. Linda gets shut out 0-7-3, and your game plan of stacking early Drakes just never happened.
there's once again Jake going 6-0-20.
Yeah.
Lou goes 8-3-7. We have a sub ADC and Dory. Morte's not here. 11-0-15.
Yep.
Um,
And I mean, like I said,
yeah,
they had to play around bot side because I feel like that was the weak point of this SG draft. When I say that, and then I look at the combined KDA of being what is that 113-3,
yeah.
like something went horribly wrong.
Wait, no, oh yeah, yeah. If we're just saying bot lane, yeah,
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 with Linda, obviously it doesn't look very
yeah.
very good either.
I
So,
mean, I think this is just another draft cap. I'm gonna be honest.
well, I mean, yeah, it's probably a
It's
draft
less of
cap.
a draft cap.
My
It's
guess
less of a
here's
draft cap.
here's here's my guess. My guess is that Jake understands the situation and says, "Hey, Lou, let's just contest these early Drakes anyways, right?
Yeah,
And let's unlock you and put pressure on this bot side, right?"
and that's what happens.
Mhm. Mhm.
Credit to Linda only being down 1k gold, being 0-7-3.
Yeah, I mean, Lou's just he's not farming minions, he's farming champs, right?
No,
Which
no, yeah, lose farming
in
champs,
this
not
in this
minions.
comp, like Lou is a great
Genuinely, that's fine
facilitator.
though.
Like
Yeah,
he has great backline access. He has
he
access
has
to
great ults.
great ults, including the Blitzcrank ult, right?
Yeah, he has 4 great ults and one like decent ult. Like Ezreal isn't even that bad on Silas because of its
Mm-hmm.
AP ratios.
Yeah.
It's just not like you're not going into a team fight saying I'm taking Ezreal. It's going to be either a misclick because people are grouped up, or it's a last resort. Like, hey, somebody's backing over there. I take Ezreal and I shoot it to kill them.
Yeah.
Or you
Um,
have every other ult on cooldown, which just never happens.
but at the end of the day, like it was a 29-minute game. My guess is the team
15k
fight.
gold diff.
Yeah, the team fight phase starts, and we said in a straight up 5v5, SG will win. And that's
Yeah.
that's basically what it comes down to. Dory coming on this Jinx gets access to 4 items. Um,
Panda and Jake having the same KP in this game.
yep. And then Lou having access to all of his ultimates, right? Like all he
Yeah.
has to do is set up his team, and they'll do the rest. So
Yeah.
for SG, I am a big fan of games 1, 2, and 4. Not so much game
Yeah,
three, but like
game 3, I still don't know what happened, but
when they don't lose the plot and they understand what their strengths are and they play to said strengths, like we've seen, this team can beat anybody, right? Now the question is, and the question remains, can they do it consistently? As I see Dan Ceiling fan as we come back to the video feed, just to talk about the report card for JSCC. Um, are you good, Dan? Hello. Well, this is awkward. Did I lose connection? Let's see. Well, shoot. Well, I don't know what happened to Dan. Hopefully he's
I'm back.
okay. Okay,
I'm
sweet.
okay. Sorry, I had to take care of my dad real quick.
No, you're good. I was just making sure
Some
you're good.
yeah, something happened to my dad. I had to take care of him real
Okay,
quick.
gotcha.
But I'm back.
No, you're totally fine. So we were gonna talk a little bit about the report card for JRCC, which is kind of an interesting scenario, right? This team really wasn't
Yeah.
expected to be here, considering how the regular season went. They come into
I'm
the
gonna stay away from
playoffs.
this report card.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think you have very many fans for JRC from JRCC.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay away from this report card. I'll let you kind of take the lead on this
Okay,
one.
but for a team that wasn't expected to be here, they really, if they read the room, they're heavy underdogs. The fact they were able to come out and take a game off SG,
Yeah.
and they had
Under
some turbulence during the course of the regular season. I'm giving them I'm giving them a C plus, right? They didn't have great success in the season, right? They only won I think two series, I believe, both the cross divisions that they played.
yeah, it was
Um,
against All Smite and Black Pearl.
and so obviously
Like
not the best regular season a team has ever had, but with some
credit to them, they came in here though and they took a game off SG, who went through the entire season in Kindle after we learned everything about cross divisions not mattering.
yeah,
Um being undefeated.
yeah.
They took a game off that team.
They took a game off that team. Plus, despite some turbulence and some extracurriculars, as you would say, as
Yes.
one might say, they were still able to close out the season, which for amateur league, if you don't have a bunch of buy-in from the players that are playing, I mean, we saw it with Regicide, right? Like a lot of these teams just end up falling off the map. So
Yeah, to me with Regicide, at least I don't know if you knew what happened. It was
there's
they left.
some clashing personalities. I've heard.
There was that. Also the fact that their ADC's entire setup got like cooked because a water pipe exploded.
Oh, did not know that.
Yeah, no, like that was one of the main reasons was because they lost their ADC due to like house stuff.
Yeah, but I'm gonna give them a C plus because
I think that's fair.
they finished out the regular season. It wasn't the best regular season amateur league has ever seen, but they took a game off of SG, who was undefeated within their division, um, and they had some bright
Yeah,
spots. Right? I think Linda. I don't know what their plan is. I can't speak for Jolly Rogers, but I think Linda has put themselves in a
I
very
can't
nice
either.
spot, in terms of either teams that want to play with said player or whatever that player wants to do. So,
Yeah, and oh boy, here we go.
and shout out to my boy Benzi because I do
I love
appreciate your
Benzie.
DM
Shout out,
efforts.
shout out to chat, bro.
Yeah, shout out to chat.
I love
Um,
Benzie, man. But here we go. Civil War time.
Civil War time. Let me pull up the draft. Now I caught the first game. I'm not gonna lie to you and say I watched the entire series, but I caught the
The
first
first
game and the early parts of the second game, and I was convinced you guys were gonna go up 2-0. Um,
there was some occurrences in the second game that you'll see when we get to screenshots. Um, it was something that happened in game two,
yeah.
but
So let's
game one.
let's go ahead and look at the
You
draft. Now I
you
loved what
want
you
the
guys
draft
did.
explained to
So
you?
well, no. Let me give my pitch as to what the thinking was,
Okay,
and then I'll
okay,
let you kind of fill in whether I'm right or wrong, or
okay.
any missing pieces. So just looking at the draft, we kind of have to look at it as a whole, right? We could talk about the pick order all we want, but at the end of the day, you guys over at All Smites lost, or well, sorry, not lost. You locked in a full melee team comp that's just baked with damage and almost the entirety of T-Dye's champ pool.
Yep, that
And
was exactly the plan.
when I was watching this, at first I was like, oh man, like Allsmite's just kind of punting. Like they don't think they can hang with Belmont. But then I'm watching the series, I'm watching game one, you know, kind of come to fruition. I go, holy crap. This is game one of a fearless game. And if they win this game, Tita's pool has shrunk significantly. Right?
Yeah,
Which then I was like, okay, I'm a big fan. I thought you guys were trolling, but this actually makes sense, right? And
yeah.
what's also fortuitous or for you, or I don't know what you want to call it, but the fact that this comp actually matched pretty well in what Belmont showed
No,
is
yeah, it was kind of really funny how well it matched up into the Belmonts
was
roster.
was pretty incredible. So some things that I like about it, right? We could talk about pick order, but in this
The
kind of
pick order.
scenario, the pick order didn't really matter.
No, no, these were all getting picked. It was just a matter of when things were going to
Hmm.
get picked.
My biggest gripe with Belmont's draft is that they have, a bunch of zone control with Ash Seraphine, which is great. But outside of this Camille, there's no damage.
Yep,
What I mean by that
especially
is in most team comps, a Swain, a Jarvan, an Ash, and a Seraphine, they can hit a squishy mage or they can hit a traditional ADC. But basically five bruisers, there is not enough damage to actually win a
we
team
don't
fight.
yeah, we don't have one of those.
Yeah. And so, you know,
Like
I,
your best chance is like probably Rumble
I
in
can't be
this.
too hard on Belmonts because they're not obviously not expecting something like this. But what I will say is there's a reason why Ash Seraphine has fallen in pro priority, right? And it's exactly for
Yeah,
this reason. Where when push comes to shove, you need damage to deal with, these very untraditional, non traditional supports and AD carries that are popping up.
yeah.
Um, and so
Like I
with that
think
in
it was
mind,
earlier today. I saw a Kali versus Silas bot lane.
um, I don't know about that one, but I saw Silas versus Jace
Oh,
in
I
the
did see Silas
LCS.
versus Jace. I saw Kali versus something
I think
earlier today too.
in LEC.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not sure what it was, but what I do want to say is, with that in mind, even though you guys had a very unique approach to this game one, I think Belmont needs to recognize that, like, hey, we're going to lack in the damage department, um, only because they have great pick, right? And you have to play around that because in a 5v5, you guys won every single time, almost every single
Yeah.
time. And so they don't recognize that, and this is my fear. This is what I vocalize as my fear for Belmont's
With Belmont's going forward.
going forward is they're very good at punishing mistakes, but they're very safe, and I don't consider them proactive, right? By that I
Yeah,
mean
no.
they follow the flow of the game, they stay relatively steady and even, and then when it comes to team fights or like objective setups or whatever, that's where they'll punish you. Like if you don't
Yeah.
walk in as a
But
unit, right, they'll catch somebody out, or in a team fight, they'll straight out team fight you, right?
100%.
But and like
They're not proactive enough around the map is kind of what you're saying. And I will say, at least for games 1 and 2 of this series, I would agree.
yeah, it's
Credit to Beta in games 3 and 4. Milo mid was made miserable because there was a Beta always in my lane. And I've talked to B about it after, and I've been told, I wanted to win it. I realized that if I didn't come mid, that was how it was going to go down. So credit to Beta for kind of changing the flow that Belmont's normally plays and starting those really strong roam timers.
mhm,
And it's also very convenient that Wolven is one of the ADCs that can legitimately be left in that 1v2
yeah,
for Beta to be able to roam that much. So,
yeah, and so focusing on this game one, right? Like
yeah,
we could talk a little bit about it, but basically it came down to the fact that if you look at
not enough
Belmont's,
damage.
well, they don't have enough damage to take a 5v5, but they have plenty of damage to make picks happen, right?
Yeah.
And as mobile as a lot of your champions are on All Smite's side, right? When staring down like a 3v1 or like a 3v2, Belmont's could have had opportunities to fish for pockets of vision and really punish you guys on rotations.
Oh,
Um,
100%.
which they never did. They just opted for 5v5s over and over. And that
Yeah.
to me was like, okay, like they lost this 43-minute game. They never really keyed in on like, okay, we're gonna lose out in pressure. We're gonna lose out in 5v5s. We have to play around T Die, who was doing well in this
Yeah,
game.
no, T played out of his mind
And we need to
and
make picks happen around this Camille, right? Camille has great lockdown. We can follow it up with Ash, with Seraphine, with Jarvan, whoever. We just got to play around that. And they never figured it out. And so after game one, I was like, holy crap. I was like, I didn't think Allspice had it in them, but they won
Is
game
there
one
gonna
with this
is there gonna be an
draft.
upset?
And they've set themselves up for future drafts because now T Dye has lost 6 of his champions, you know? And so I was like, this is very interesting. This is a very interesting series. Um, so let's look at game two. Game
Game
two,
2.
obviously a little bit more standard. I believe the missed pick from you guys is
Nunu.
Nunu, right? This is where I feel like
Oh
you guys
boy.
kind of lost the plot because
I
in my mind,
yeah, I don't know what the Nunu was. I'm
well,
gonna
not even just the Nunu, but like the fact that you guys didn't approach it more traditionally after that game one. I think the game one
Yeah,
made
I will
sense.
say, like, you've been watching, it's
Yeah, I
kind of a
know.
staple thing that All Smite will go in and we will play a 5 jungle comp.
Yeah.
And we just said, hey, let's do it game 2. Because the original plan was game 2 was supposed to be the beta draft.
Oh, you're just gonna play out like 5 supports or something?
Yup. Yeah,
Oh,
we
okay.
were, but we ran into the issue that we didn't think they were going to lock Seraphine game 1. And I can't play any of Beta's other champions in mid lane besides Seraphine.
Uh,
So it was a combination of, hey, we feel bad doing this, but we also can't really pilot this. So let's just pivot and go do our all jungle draft and have fun
so
doing what the team is like built to do.
that's and credit to you guys for doing that. I gotta look at it from a competitive lens.
Oh,
I feel
100
like if you go
100%.
traditional comp in this game two and upset Belmont's in game two, you probably could have won the whole thing, right?
Oh, 100%.
And so
100%. I agree.
for me, I was like, okay, game one, they came out with a very risky draft, high risk, high reward. Belmont doesn't key in on their win con, and they win game one. So now, if they just approach game two a little bit more normally, right? We've pinched T Die's pool, so we can reasonably expect like what he's gonna lock. We'll be in a really good spot. Obviously, that wasn't the plan from all Smites from the get go, and despite that, you guys almost pick up this game too. But we're gonna look at the
I,
draft, right?
yeah, I will say this game was very winnable.
No, it definitely was. I thought you guys probably could have won it. It's just the later the game went, I think the less tools you had to really deal with what was going on. But so Belmont's opened with a Mumu B1. I like this pick because Taroma really likes a Mumu, right? So it's a
I
takeaway.
Yeah, no, I love it.
It's a good team fight setup. You could
And
potentially look to flex it with support, but it's probably going jungle. But it's a fine blind jungle, right? Especially with
yeah,
Silas off the board.
I'm gonna say this. I don't know what Belmont's was on Monday night, but they were like so like just randomly locked in on our random different game drafts. Like this this wasn't originally supposed to be an all jungle game.
Uh huh.
But yet their bands ended up lining up perfectly for our all jungle.
Gotcha.
Like our like Silas, Viego. We saw me
Yeah.
play Viego last week in Toulouse.
Uh huh.
Granted, Locke was banned. I wanted Locke in that series, but Lou banned Locke. So, but we saw Rev play Zach. We saw Tal on the Zyra.
Hmm.
Like they just were keyed in on every draft, and it continues forward. It continued in game one because if there was a thought process of potentially giving me the Akali because we know T-Dye plays it and we also know how I've performed on it,
Uh huh.
but they banned it.
Yeah.
So
No credit to them for
it
having
was,
good prep.
yeah, no, I mean it was more so weird to me just how like tuned in they were to each draft.
um, but for this draft here, so they open up with a Moo, Diana and a Fury is your guys' follow up. Now, good mixed damage and good go. Right, like you have great backline access. They're both built-in buddies. You have hybrid mixed damage, for your team fight. Oriana, you know, very stable mid laner. Buckbeep has the champ fine. It's great with the Moo. Moo finds a Q option. Like you're gonna be able to blow somebody up. Um,
Yep.
and then Braum, I think Vita's Braum kind of is what did you in the more this game went on.
Yeah, no,
Um,
it 100% did. I didn't realize this going into the game. You can't throw Loco if there's a Braum in the fist in the area.
yep,
It gets blocked and it doesn't hit the ground.
that's true.
I didn't know that.
And then you don't have access to your Qs, like to actually go through. Like they don't
Yeah,
pierce.
yeah, no,
Um,
it doesn't pierce you. So
so and then you draft 5 melee into Braum, right? It's like that's my big
you,
thing. It's like yeah, it's a good
you're
lock
also not
counter.
wrong.
But 5 melee into Braum gonna be kind of hard, right? So
Oh,
lock
100%.
lock good pickup. I like lock, especially on live patch.
Yeah, I
And I
think
think it's
this
fine
was
under
first
Oriana.
lock game. No, it was not first lock game of ECL. I forgot Razors got it last week.
Yeah. Um, then the new Panth ball lane comes out. Uh, and the Braum, it was gonna be hard anyways with the
Don't look
Yunara.
at the rolls because that's not where people went.
Oh
I don't
yeah,
know
that's
why
right.
it looks like that. It's
It's
Diana top,
it was
Pantheon
yeah,
jungle,
Nunu to Fury.
Nefiri Nunu bot, lock mid.
Either way, it's gonna be tough, right?
No,
Just
yeah,
going
either
double
way, that
melee.
lane's tough.
I really like Yunara for teamfight navigation, right? It's great follow
I
up for
agree.
Mumu. Can play safe and back with the Oriana Braum. Can also play forward. The Sahin, despite T Dye's pool getting pinched, I think is also really good into a quad or sorry, penta melee comp.
Penta melee.
Because that access to the ulti, you're going to hit multiple members, so you're gonna have a lot of uptime in fights, especially with passive. Um, Now despite this, like you guys actually had a good thing going early where you had a little bit of a gold lead. Beaumont wasn't really sure how they're supposed to approach this weird draft. All right.
Yeah,
Um,
we got the assassin ahead
yep.
at first.
But beat his Braum into the Pantheon, into
Lock,
the Nami,
Nunu,
or sorry, Nami, the Nunu,
the
into
Nefiri.
all the melees. The later this game went, it just became unplayable, right?
Yeah, no. This game needed to be ended pre 25 minutes if we were going to win this game.
Which obviously it didn't. Your bot lane didn't do a great job helping you to do that. Bongo was kind of inting on repeat. Uh,
Tell me about it.
but
He has been plenty yelled at for this new game.
a little bit of silliness, and obviously, like the more coherent comp is always going to do better as time goes on because it's easy navigation, especially into what you guys were showing. So,
100%.
what I will say about this is that this is the quintessential Belmont's formula for success, right? They have good answers into what the enemy team is showing. They play fine, and then when push comes to shove, they just typically win mid to
Yeah, the
late.
only really bad lane for them is this mid lane.
Yeah.
Lock
Um.
into Ori, it's just so good.
Yep.
Like you're expected to get poked out pre-level 3,
Yep.
which did end up happening. I had to take an early back, but you don't really get to just walk up to the Ori,
Hmm.
especially when your cooldowns are that long and all you have like level 1 is Q. You don't really get your big damage procs off till about level 2 when you can start getting in with that E and dashing back through the champ.
Hmm.
So, but after that, it's Ori into an assassin.
Yeah, which is tough, but also it's Ori into a really good team fight for Belmont's side. And so
Yeah,
for Belmont's, as long as they don't
int
either
early.
have no answers or int early, like this is how they typically win, right? And so credit to
Yeah,
them. They play
credit
fine.
credit to Belmonts. This was a really good draft by them.
Yep.
Really good Braum pick by Beta.
Hmm. They play the comp well, and they take game two. And then at that point, I'm like, okay, Belmont's is probably gonna win
Yeah,
the rest of the way, just because of what I
yeah.
saw from these silly drafts. Uh,
We
so
we were out here having some fun.
yeah, for sure. So Belmonts comes through the Mel B1, really nice. It's a flex. Heimerdinger Mordekaiser's picked. I don't really know what the thought process was, if there was any.
No,
Um,
there was a thought process in all four of our drafts.
okay, okay.
If you can't figure this one out, I can explain it after. But
Um, Ziggs Cassante into Olaf. Now I really like the Olaf pick. A lot of backline threat. And it's great into the Cassante, where it'll typically win outright with a little bit of help. Once Cassante ults, like Olaf will win, right? So as long as Cassante
yeah,
doesn't ult, then it's kind of whatever. It's like a handshake matchup.
yeah.
Timo, Trundle, Leona, Kane. So Kane's something that I don't think we've seen Belmont's play. Um, so that was exciting to see in a playoff game. The fact that Tycon is willing to play something like that was cool.
No,
Um,
yeah, 100%.
I don't know what the theme
All right.
of this draft
So
is.
game one, this was planned from the beginning. Game one was the T-Dye draft.
Uh
We
huh.
shrink T-Dye's pool. Game two was supposed to be the beta draft. And then we thought about potentially doing a Buckby draft before we went to all junglers. And I said, hey, we can't do this because Buckby doesn't have any AD mid laners or any like AD that he's played besides J4. And J4 is gone. And T-Dye has Cassante up.
Yeah.
So we did our old jungle draft because 5 AP into Cassante, you're never killing Cassante. This was the T-Dye hate comp in a sense. These are 5 champions that T-Dye just absolutely despises.
Okay. I see it. Yeah, makes
So
sense.
that was the plot of draft 3, and that was like known going in. That game 3 was we were going to play 5 champs that T-Dye just despises.
Yeah. Well, it didn't work.
No, no,
Which, I
no.
mean, as long as you guys are having fun, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, like it obviously like it got to be friendly banter between the two teams because everybody on the two teams knows each other.
Yeah.
And it's a civil war. So it was more made to be fun as well.
Yeah. So, um, the game lasted quite a long time. 36 minutes. Uh, which I don't know if it really should have went that long because I feel like Belmont's matches really well into what you guys were doing. But
No, I don't think it should have, but there was a couple weird things that happened.
so it seems like
But
you did fine in terms of like dragon pressure. It was three Drakes to two in
yeah,
favor of Belmont's. You got a couple gubs early. Actually took a Baron. Towers were pretty even. But once again, it's just one of these things of like ease of execution. The later a game goes, like
yeah,
even though I
our
I think that the game should have been over sooner, this is very Belmont's where they they will punish mistakes, and so the later the game
and they just
goes, they'll
won't
be
close
fine.
out the games.
Yep.
Yeah, they continuously just punish mistakes, but they don't use those punishes to really close out. They
Hmm.
just let the games keep going and just punish you more and more.
Yep. So they win game three. We're on to game four. Um,
Hey, we have a normal
and you
draft.
guys you up for a normal draft, which then I was like, okay, if All Smite's able to pick up a win here, going to game five would be insane because most people had a 3-0 for Belmont.
Yeah,
um I was curious to see how this one would play out. um so Belmont's on red side with first pick, open with Ari. I like the Victor pick. It's pretty safe into the Ari. We'll poke her
I
out
didn't I didn't want Victor, but it was the only thing left that I was comfortable playing into the
into the
Ari,
Ari.
besides maybe Vladimir. There was a debate between whether I go Victor or I go Vladimir here,
Mm-hmm.
but I just felt like Victor, with what we had talked about in call in terms of what we were thinking for picks, played around the team better than a Vlad would have. So
Gotcha. Orn this early was interesting. Um, just put the Orn in the
it
bag.
was the
Uh,
Orn. So the Ord was a pick away from T-Dye.
oh, I see. Okay,
The Orn was a pick away from T-Dye, but was also a jungle top flex between Tal and Rev.
gotcha. And then
So we knew that both of them can play it, and they both enjoy playing it. And we're like, hey, this is like the only champ T-Dye has left. Just pick it early, and we just send it one of the two places.
gotcha. Jinx is followed up with a Nautilus. Now, anytime I see Jinx Nautilus, it's like, hey, like that's a little scary for the Jinx, right? She wants some kind of enchanter, some champion that can empower her. But as long as she has a good front line or a lot of kill threats that surround her, and the focus is less on the Jinx, then she's able to thrive. Thresh is picked up. Not a big fan of Thresh into the Nautilus, just kind of susceptible to that engage.
I'd
Um,
agree.
but I mean, it's game three fearless. I don't think your
Jim-
support was very high rated. Um,
No,
and so it's just kind of like you gotta play for comfort at that point, which it is what it
I know
is.
you also put me at 11th.
Okay, well, I mean, you guys won JRBP, so I don't know what to tell you.
Hey,
Uh,
but like, I will get that. That'll be a discussion for later.
okay.
But yeah, no.
So I
It,
like,
the Thresh is pure comfort
yeah,
for
which it
Optic.
makes sense. I mean, it's not a hard losing lane. It's just it's kind of scary. Um,
Yeah, 100%. And then
Shen picked up Sejuani Aatrox, the responses, and then R5 of Aphelios. Now, Thresh Aphelios, I really do like as a pairing. That's one of the best pairings in the game. It's been a pro play staple for a while. And then I like the Shen pickup because you're going to be able to ult whoever the target is between Sejuani Ari, which makes sense, or Nautilus, whatever it might be.
yeah, and just buy time for them and hopefully make it so that that person gets to continue the team
Mm-hmm.
fight.
Now, both
And
teams.
especially if it ends up being like, because your two main carries in this game are going to be Victor Aphelios.
Mm-hmm,
If you can keep either one of them alive, they both do insane damage throughout a team fight.
correct. And I will say, so both teams have a really strong 5v5. Now, the thing that I'll give a shade in Belmont's favor is I think they have a little bit more playmaking tools and they have a greater sideline threat in the Aatrox, right?
I agree.
Um,
And that's kind of what ended up happening
Mm-hmm.
was their 5v5 and playmaking potential and pick potential was just a little better than ours. And there was a couple picks that got caught out that turned into losing team fights.
Yeah, and then I mean, Wolven goes 12-1-8 on this Jinx, right? All you need is one pick, one opportunity to get a Jinx reset, and then
Yeah, there
if
was a point late game where I got like actually two shot by Wolven and was not expecting it. So I didn't click my stopwatch because I thought I had more time.
gotcha, and then you look across the way like Beta Wolven definitely more comfortable in the 2v2 together than your guys' bot lane. I know your guys' bot
Yeah.
lane was kind of short notice. And so they I think get the better of them. And then like you said,
Yeah. Unfortunately, we missed out on having CAG this entire series because of laptop issues
uh
and not being able to get it fixed in time for playoffs. The original plan was to have CAG for this series, but
yeah.
laptop issues happened like 2 days before.
hmm
So,
Yeah, and then I mean you look at how this series ultimately went 11 towers to 2, 3 drakes to 2, but
yeah,
for the most part it was that team fighting prowess, which Belmont's, I mean, they're gonna stack
is
up as
that's the
well. Yeah, that's their strength. They're gonna stack up as well as anybody can in UCL.
fights.
So
Yeah.
um so there's the series in a nutshell uh for the Civil War.
Post
Um Now I gotta give you guys a report card grid. Um which is tough, right? So you guys come in midway through the season
to replace
to
Regicide,
replace
yeah.
Regicide. I mean, here's what I'll say. It was pitched as a meme team, right? All junglers, all
Oh,
smite.
100%.
And so like the criteria for grading you guys isn't going to be the same for a lot of these other teams. And so
100%. I think we completed our goal of meming.
yeah, and so for me like I'll give it a solid C plus, right? You guys showed up.
Oh,
You guys accomplished what you wanted to do. I mean, you took a game off Belmont, you won a series against JRBP. It wasn't spectacular, right? Like it wasn't like if
no,
you
it's not like
guys
we came in and won finals, but
yeah,
we
if
we did what we set out to do. We said
yeah,
we were gonna meme.
which
We
is
said we were gonna have fun.
which is
We did a
passing.
full draft. We did
Yeah.
a full make T9 not want to play the game draft.
I think if you guys would have got, I think if you guys would have, I think the limit was probably like that C plus, unless you upset in playoffs, and then I would have given you probably guys like an A plus. It wouldn't have been mattered at that point. Like
Yeah.
if you came
If
in
we
there
would
upset the number
we
one
would have just
team,
beat Belmonts,
yeah,
I think that is I think that would have been crazy, but
yeah, but
and
but
after game 1, I genuinely thought there was a chance, and I had asked, "Hey, we have them on their backs right now after them losing that game 1. Can we just go normal drafts from here on out and try to beat them?" And we're like, "But then we're not memeing."
yeah.
So,
So like I said, I mean it's passing, right? And it's borderline B. It's a C plus.
yeah.
So where like you guys come in on like late notice, the meme team, you guys had fun, you were successful, right? Like you stretched Belmont's. I think that's kind of
Yeah, I
where I
think
had
the
you guys.
criteria for like a B minus would have been going to game 5 with
Yeah,
Belmonts.
for sure, something
If
like
we would
that.
have
Probably even a
stretched this
B.
to Yeah, if we would have stretched this to like a 5 game series, I think that's where the criteria for going up a little more would have been. I think
Yeah,
that's a very fair rating.
yeah. We got one more series
And
to cover.
now the banger series
The
of the
banger
week.
series, and I didn't think it would be this
I
long, but here we are. It's
no,
almost
I
2
I did
hours.
not think this series was going to be this long either.
Yeah. So here's what I'll say. Like, let me pull up the drafts while I say this. I wasn't very high on PTL. I know that they had the SG win, but we knew how hot and cold SG could be. Um, the thing is for as much good things as KOKG had shown. I This team to me is a team that it's kind of like Cloud9 the past couple splits where it's like
I think that's the perfect way to put it.
they just feel like they're going to outplay you individually, and then
Yeah.
they hope to put it together the rest of the way, right? So like they'll have really strong early games. If Thera gets going, he's kind of a menace. Um, Mythic Chaos and Solo Rusher are very good individual carries. I think Ratsu um plays a lot of stuff well in the top lane, but it just feels to me like, I mean, this team doesn't scrim from what I've been told. They show up on game
No,
days,
yeah,
they
they
play.
they don't scrim.
And so it's a matter of, okay, if we get ahead, we know how to close out leads, but if it's close or if we're behind, then it's a little bit iffy, right?
Yeah, that then it's like that's where the scrims really come in. Like that's where you learn how to play as a team from behind, how to make these calls that hey, we need to really like just try something right here.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's somebody caught out here or like they're a little bit too far extended. We just got to go.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not getting that when you're not scrimming and you're not playing. I mean, I don't know if they play outside of this, but you're not getting that stuff.
I mean,
And
they're at least not
that's where the
getting in a
downfall of this team
yeah,
is.
they're not getting in a competitive setting, right?
Yeah, and that's where the downfall of this team is.
Mm-hmm. So we look at the drafts. It's standard blue side first pick. Caitlyn picked. Seraphine Ash response. Lux answer.
Caitlin Luck,
So you get Caitlyn Lux for the push, but come level 6, that lane is very scary for the Caitlyn
Kate
Lux.
Lux. Yeah.
But until then, you're gonna have free reign of the lane. So it's kind of like a wash in my opinion. I think it's winning early for KOKG, but like I said, it's basically PTL holds out till 6, and then all of a sudden they come online. KOKG picks up Theracles' Wukong, which I'm a big fan of. Um, and then Yeflo gets his Kasante, which is very interesting to me. We know that they have red side. Yeplo is considered a Kazante merchant. I feel like if you just ban it to prevent that R3 pick, that's fine.
So you see, to me, where that comes in, I've actually had this talk with a couple people. I was actually talking to Attell about this. I think it was a couple nights ago, but maybe I'm losing it because I've been going through some personal stuff that my brain's a little out of whack. But
Mm-hmm.
um, I think it was Attell that I was talking to. I'm not a horribly opposed to just letting these one tricks through.
Because then you have to
So
deal
you're
with
not
it.
burning a ban on them every game, especially like in this series where you're going 5 games. You're not burning a ban on Casante every single game.
That's true.
It opens up a ban for you by just letting it through.
Plus, if you feel like you have answers, then it just comes down to
Yeah.
execution, which PTL picks up the Kasante, doesn't ban the Garen, which is interesting to me.
Yeah. And you have an answer into it now.
Yeah. So Amumu's
Ends up going
locked.
in favor of the Casante of Yupflow, but
Yeah, you have Garen Silas. Now, obviously, Upflow is probably going to be a little bit more well rehearsed in this matchup,
uh,
but
then Rotsu probably is.
it's a counter nonetheless. I really like the Silas pickup. Once again, we see a Silas access to a Moon ult, to Ash ult, to Seraphine ult. And
Victor
then
Holt.
yeah, the Victor is the last pick, which it's going to get ahead in lane, but it's very susceptible to dying, right? Especially
Yeah.
like Silas Wukong. Once they have access to the level 6, like if you don't have flash, you are dead.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean,
Which,
honestly, I don't think looking at either of these drafts, like it's straight up a draft gap, right? I think both of these
yeah, no,
teams have different points where they're good, some points where they're weaker,
100%.
but it will come down to execution. And we look at game one, and it's loss, right? Now,
Yeah.
here's my take, because I agree. Like if there's a one trick, if you don't want to spend the whole series banning it, you just let it through and then hopefully have an answer. The reason why that's scary is because, like I had said, I think Yepflow is way more versed in this matchup than Ratsu is, right? And if Ratsu's just picking Garen to get the counter, you get these kinds of outcomes, right? Where
Yeah, and
in terms of gold, it wasn't that big of a gap, but Yupflow is just going to have a bigger impact on the game than Ratsu ever will on a pick he's not comfortable on, right?
Exactly.
Um,
And, like, I can comfortably say that I've done the same exact thing in competitive before. I've locked in or I've had somebody lock in Zen Zhao into me, and I've counterpicked myself by picking Viego into it.
mhm,
Because I know I'm going to be more well rehearsed on the matchup than somebody else would be.
yep.
And
So,
I know how to play it. Like it's a whole thing of if you don't have an answer to a one trick that is also a well rehearsed answer,
mhm.
you can't let the one trick through.
Yeah. So Yupflow gets the better of Ratsu. Now, it wasn't by much, but I feel like the team fight presence from Yupflow was going to be outshining Ratsu in the individual 1v1. Yupflow is really good at just playing stable and being a team fighter. Now,
Yeah.
here's where my hesitations with KOKG I feel like really came through this game. Because if you look at their comp, they have great pick. They should have a side lane presence, like they have a 4-1 or 1-3-1, but they have to play proactively, right?
Yeah.
Kate Lux, they have to get the push, they have to get early Drakes, right? And slowly choke out a team fighting comp team. The later this game goes, red side, it comes down to easy execution. You show up, you hit R, people die, you win, right?
Yep.
And so
Kind of
27
like
and a
we were
half
talking about.
minutes, 27 and a half minutes, KOKG. I can't say that this team was proactive if they only took one tower, one Drake, and then the Herald and Grubs. You know,
Yeah, I can't either.
like they have to be
I
able
don't
to
I
squeeze
don't think
out
it's
more gold.
fair to say they played proactively.
Yeah. And so when it came down to it, the later this game went, more opportunities for dragon fights, for baron fights, etc. The team that could just show up and hit R typically wins out, right?
Yeah.
So while I didn't think it was a
And
huge draft gap in terms of like both individual teams, my
yeah,
problem with KOKG is if you're not scrimming, you don't know how to close out games very fast. This comp is going to be hard to play even if you were scrimming, right? Like on paper, it's
yeah.
fine. Like I don't have any problem with it, but you have to be proactive and know how to close out a lead, and that just didn't happen.
Yeah, and that's not like you said, it's not gonna happen if it's not gonna come if you're not scrimming, so
We move on to game two.
Game 2.
So it's KOKG with second side or second pick on blue side. PTL opens up with the Smolder B1. I'm not a huge fan of this pick since the round of nurse that it got, but it's fine. Like if it goes late game, it's still Smolder. KOKG responds with Brand Volley Bear. PTL picks Not Mel, and then Aurelian Soul is the answer by KOKG. Now, very interesting set of picks through the first three for both these sides. I think PTL is a little bit more stock standard, right? You have some kind of frontline TC tank that can peel for the Smolder. Smolder Mel, you're going to be doing a lot of damage, high priority picks. Uh, I personally probably would have liked the Mel on B1 just because one, it's a nice matchup in a brand, but two, you can pick it early and hold it for a flex. But then for KOKG side, it's like, okay, let's lock down targets and do a lot of damage to them. Um,
Yeah.
and so,
Also, holy AP damage.
and it's a lot of AP damage, right? So here's what's interesting to me: like KOKG is able to pick this because I don't think PTL has a Galio player, you know,
Yeah.
which I feel like once again as IPSG players, like if our goal is to improve, like
You gotta have Galio in the pool.
somewhere right between the four places where it could be picked. Like
Yeah,
it
like, I
has to
mean,
be.
even if it's not comfort.
Yeah, yeah.
Y This is a game where I'm not a Galio player. I enjoy playing the champ. I don't play him very often, but if I'm seeing this draft of Brand, Volley, Acel, I am slamming Galio R3.
Hmm. Comfort bands for both sides. It's Tarek picked up, so now it's like, okay, where's the brand volley bear going? Is it volley jungle? Is it brand jungle? Is it volley top? So PTL doesn't really know. They lock into Fury Maokai, so they have Some good playmaking tools with the Nautilus and Fury of the Maokai. They have some threat, some go in, but they also can play slow. And then Scion rounds out the comp. So at that point, you're like, okay, it's Brandbot with the Taric. It's gonna be kind of hard for Smolder Nautilus to exist in that lane, right? Nautilus
Yeah.
goes in, he can't come out, especially if he's CC'd by Taric, stunned by Brand, and then the CC from Taric is up again with Taric passive. So they're kind of just standing there, hoping the Smolder can scale. But then, other than that, I don't think there's like one lane in particular that's going to win out over the other. I would say Sion's a little bit favored in the Maokai top. Um, and then the Nefiri Volibear matchup is just playing around lanes, right? Which Mel or Alien Soul, Ace Soul eventually is going to get the push because he can just one shot waves with EQ. And then it's up to Ace Soul and Volibear to go make plays, right? For KOKG. Um,
Which we see happen.
yeah, so in game two, I would venture to say that Solo Rusher and Thero were a little bit more proactive, especially into a team that just wants to sit there and scale. Which
Yeah.
dragging it on the Fury is weird to me. Right? Like
Yeah.
that's a pick that really wants to accelerate a game. When you have a Mel and Smolder backing you up, it's like, okay, could we have just picked something else like a Trundle or like a like whatever to
And
kind of help them play.
I don't necessarily hate it in all honesty, because I've picked this exact thing, this Nefiri pick, in a game like this.
Mm-hmm.
Not with the same champs, but when I'm playing more scaling. But it's more so I'm comfortable on my ability on Nefiri to be able to kind of solo carry through the early to mid game
Mm-hmm.
to allow my team, if we don't close out through me, that we will have these insane
Yeah,
scalers
you
come
hand
late game.
off you hand off that
Yeah.
priority. Yeah.
Yeah, I no longer am the one kind of hard carrying on the Fury. It's gonna get transitioned to my scalers.
Which that doesn't really happen in this game, right? We talked about how the
No,
Maokai probably is going to lose out to the Scion eventually, and that the bot lane can't really exist. Now, I don't
yeah,
think Barbar and Dark Archon knew that they couldn't exist by looking at this, right?
no, 185 010 3. I think they tried to fight Brand
Uh
Tarek,
huh.
is my guess,
Which,
which you just don't get to do.
yeah, Brand for one is a high damage champion on his own, but two is going to be doing more damage than Smolder early.
And then you have a Tarek to pair with it.
So it's gonna nullify that engage from both the straight up Nautilus in the lane, but having that access to ultimate kind of nullifies what Dragon It Out wants to do, right? Where he wants to look for a squishy target in the Railing Soul or the brand, poke them out and then have Metal Smolder to kind of clean up. So um, good stuff from PTL. It goes almost 33 minutes. But a very clean game, 35 to 12, 9 towers to 2, and pretty much every objective outside of 2 dragons. So, um,
I think this is kind of perfect example of what we were talking about with KOKG.
yeah,
They got ahead early. This is how they're able to play.
yeah, for sure.
There's looking at this, I don't see a world where they were ever behind this game or
Yeah,
behind
I
by
mean
a
maybe some
and
throws here and there as is accustomed to
yeah,
IBSG, but like
yeah, but
never in
you were
doubt.
never behind by a significant amount besides maybe like early game with like a solo kill or something to the point where you have to claw your way back into the game as a team.
Yeah, I mean you almost win by 11,000 gold, right? So
Yeah,
it's just, I mean, I really do think that KOKG they have tons of talent on that team. Um,
100%.
but it's just this, they don't scrim. There's some other things that go on over there, and so like if they don't win it in the early, or if they're not stable in the early, unlike Belmont's, where Belmont's can look for punishes, KOKG really just relies on being better players. And so
Yeah.
not to say Belmont's also isn't better players. All I'm saying is like for KOKG, it's like they have to be able to outperform in order to win
Yeah,
games a lot of
it's
the
not the same
times.
where if you take Belmont's late, like we did in a couple of those games, they're going to punish you on a mistake. They're going to out team fight you.
Hmm.
They're gonna find a pocket where you were just slipping up.
Yeah. We look at
Game
game
three.
three. Center first picked, matched by Syndra Pantheon. I'm a big proponent that Syndra's the best mage on the patch.
I
Jar. What are you gonna say?
yeah. I was gonna say I wish I played this champ, but yeah,
Yeah.
no, I think she's the best mage, but yeah.
Jarvan picked up, and then Kassadin slammed. Which, if you've been watching a lot of the classic league, legacy games that have been happening in pro league,
Oh my
maybe
god,
that
this
was the
champion.
inspiration for Kassadin. I'm not as high on the champion,
I'm not
especially when facing a Syndra, which Syndra scales, incredibly well on her own right, but now you're gonna get bullied, right, by the Syndra.
and now you're
Um,
gonna accelerate that scaling.
yeah, so it's just kind of an interesting look from KOKG there. Tristana picked up for PTL, I think is a fine ADC on the patch. I think this
It's nothing
champion,
special.
it's not special, but in a mage meta, I feel like Tristana can really get aggressive early. And
I
I'm
agree.
surprised we don't see it more often.
I,
Um,
I I'm surprised we don't see it into more mages. I think Tristano really where Tristano struggles is into the more traditional ADCs on the patch.
mhm,
But yeah, I'm surprised we don't see it more often into the early game mages.
mhm.
Or not into the early game mages, but into the mage when we see
Yeah.
mages picked.
Orn picked kind of a tank merchant from Mioplo, tank merchant pick. Rakan Shen rounds out KOKG's comp. Now, you look at what KOKG's trying to do as five. Shen kind of enables either the Kassadin or Jarvan to go in. Plenty of follow up damage with the Kassadin and Senna and Rakan. Um, team fighting for both these sides. PTL just has an easier team fight. It doesn't have to be single target. They can, have a lot of uptime in the fight. Syndra can look to burst somebody, even with Shen being ulted, using his ulti. Orn, quintessential team fighter, right? And so my guess, I don't even know who won this game, but my guess is it's kind of like game one, right? Where KOKG has some pretty niche win cons, Kassadin scaling, very linear team fight, Jarvan being empowered and then just following that up. Whereas PTL can just show up and just play more easily. All right, they play a standard front to back. Pantheon with some point and click CC. Shyvana, plenty of damage into what KOKG is showing. Orn, isn't really going to be threatened by anybody until really late. Um,
Yeah,
whether that's Senna
until
or
that.
Kassadin.
Yeah,
Does lose out in the
I
Shen
think
matchup, but it's kind of whatever.
I do think this is another one of those games though where KOKG is drafting these comps that need more precise team play.
Yeah,
I think KOKG's success for the rest of the season is less of these comps. If they are not drafting these comps where it's a lot more team oriented and such precision play as a team, I think they have a better success rate. Because, like we've said, they
yeah,
don't scrim together. They're not getting that competitive practice with each other
for sure.
outside of game days.
No, I would agree. So let's go ahead and look at the results. My gut is saying PTO wins, and my gut was correct. 28 minutes. Um, and it comes down to easy execution, right? This is a comp, and we just talked about how KOKG kind of thrives on being able to get ahead early. Solo Rusher's not able to do that as Kassadin into Syndra, right? Theraclease doesn't
Mm,
really have any lanes to play around. Ratu should win out on the upflow matchup, but it's tank v tank. It really doesn't matter that much. And then the bot side, you're hard scaling. So realistically, like, what does Thero play around? Now, credit to Sue, he goes 656. He's fine in the game. But there's just not a lot of early game action that Thero can really take with this early game Jarvan.
yeah.
And so you see it in the goal difference. You see it in the objective difference. Um, KOKG is trying to scale, and PTL just shows up and takes objectives, right? And if you're unable to put pressure on dragons, you lose 4 dragons to 0. You give a really early soul. That's a tough place to be.
Yeah, and it kind of it just keeps going back to what we've been talking about.
Hmm. Game four of the series, not close to being over. Got two more games to cover. PTL
Holy banger series.
PTL first pick on red side picks up the Jinx. I don't have. I mean, I'm not a Jinx hater. It's just kind of like whatever. Like Jinx to me is just a comfort pick at this point. It's
Yeah.
not like overpowered on the patch or anything. Um, Kokiji locks in Zac Twitch. Twitch has a fine time into Jinx. Zac, plenty of backline access, makes the Jinx uncomfortable. Sejuani's the pick for PTL to kind of counteract that. And then you see Malphite blind, um, which is crazy because I feel like Silas just gets slammed on three if Kokiji has it.
No, because remember, Silas has played game one by Solo
Oh, that's
Rusher.
right. That's right. So no more Silas. Okay, cool.
I yeah, I don't hate this pick knowing
Yeah,
Silas
the
is gone.
Silas is gone. However, I will say that the Lulu being picked up for the Twitch instead of the PTL Jinx, that's a little bit interesting. Where,
Yeah, because Jinx Lulu perfectly fine lane.
well, and you know that Twitch Lulu is also a great lane.
Yeah, you
So
know Twitch Lulu is the lane they're going
I
for, and
just,
Jinx Lulu is a good lane.
I
I don't
just,
understand. Like
yeah,
maybe they
why the
don't play
Malphite
Lulu.
priority, or why the priority over Malphite?
Yeah,
Like
my only guess would be like maybe they don't play Lulu.
maybe that would be.
That's the
I mean, that's
only
that's that's tough. I feel like most people play Lulu, but I don't know.
yeah.
Maybe
That's
it's
the only thing
Yeflo
I can
like
think of.
saying like I don't want to get banned out here. Like we're 4 games in, um, or this is game 4, so maybe Yeflo's just like okay, like just pick me in the mouth fight before I get double banned or something. I don't know. I can theorize all I want. It's just interesting to notice that the
It's
Lulu goes Twitch.
yeah. It's
Um,
interesting to see that the Lulu gets let through.
mhm. Cho'Gath picked up as a response into the Malphite, which is fine. It's just going to be two tanks beating up on each other. Braum going to be tasked with keeping the Jinx alive, which I think is fine. You're going to lose out in the lane. It's double range versus melee support. And so Twitch Lulu's got to get prio, but I don't ever think they have like legitimate kill threat without outside assistance. Um, unless like Braum Jinx continue to misposition, but I think the Braum pick is fine in terms of like keeping the Jinx alive. And then Cassiopeia is picked. You pick Cass because you need a high damage source alongside the Jinx, and it needs to be AP, right? Um,
Yeah.
especially when looking down Zac Cho'Gath. This is where the Xerath comes in, and I think this is an excellent choice. Now you might be thinking, Xerath into Malphite? That's kind of weird, right? Malphite should have perma access into you, right? Which, to some extent, is true. However, Lulu does exist and should be able to ult one of the carries, and if it's on Xerath, you just ult Xerath. If it's on Twitch, you just ult Twitch. But the other
Yeah.
thing I'll say is if Malphite ult isn't down, there is no threat to Xerath. Like none
Yeah, no,
whatsoever.
it's kind of what we talked about in the Ziggs game.
Yeah, where
That
unless it's like
there
Sejuani finding a Xerath pick just because he's out of position, like if they position
because
properly,
Xerath is never getting touched.
yeah. hmm
So
And once again, we see a struggle with teams into these long range like artillery mages, right? And both times it was
and
Jinx. This time it's Cassiopeia in the mid lane, where
yeah,
they're going to get outranged, and unless they find picks and or just incredible Malphite ults, the poke from Xerath is going to be pretty pretty hard to deal with. And then as we know, they win game 4, and we
and it's not particularly close.
no. So Mythic Chaos, I'm assuming gets
14,
ahead
3, and 8 on
early.
the puck. Yeah,
Um, like I had said, that's going to be a losing lane because it's double range into the Braum, right? You had an
yeah.
opportunity to pick the Lulu away, didn't do so. Your ball lane suffers. Kind of tough, you
And
know.
we just talked about this with Solo. If Malphite doesn't have ult,
Yeah,
Xerath is a no threat. 4 0
0
and 20
20.
on the Zerg.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure he did tons of damage. He picked up a book for a reason. Um, just given
Yeah,
his
like
stats.
once
Uh,
again, and it's not a close game either, is the
no.
thing. The games that KG are gonna win aren't going to be close.
Yep, they win by 9k, 27-12, like the kill deaths or whatever, but it's 4 dragons to 0, it's 3 grubs to 0. They didn't even need Baron. Um like it was a stomp, and I just think we're seeing a common
Yeah,
theme of IBSG not recognizing, hey, like if we're susceptible to poke, Ziggs is scary, Zira is scary. If we see Vel'Koz, like if people play Vel'Koz, Vel'Koz is scary. We need to have answers into those
we need to have
potentials.
backline access.
Yeah.
So
Or sustain, right? Like something like a
yeah, either
Soraka or
yeah,
whatever.
Straka,
Uh,
Sona,
yeah.
something like that, or ease of easy backline access to
Yeah.
get to those carries.
hmm
It has to be one of the two, and we're just not seeing it.
Yeah. So they
Game
win.
5.
Game 5. Silver Scrapes. KOKD on blue side with first pick. They pick up a Sivir. Sivir's fine. You're going to be able to get push into most lanes. I like the Varus into it. You're going to get some ability to harass the Sivir without taking any poke from QRW from her wave clear. Gnar early on 2 is very, very interesting. Because
Like
most of the,
we said, maybe it's just Yupflo is way at game 5 in a
That's
fearless.
that's true, but this time they have access to R3 coverage bands. So if you pick it on 3, you're able to ban 2 counters, and the reason I bring that up is it's immediately matched by an Aurelia.
By an
And
Aurelia.
Aurelia is a Ratu favorite. Um
Yeah.
and so this to me is just bad. It's either bad draft prep or um overlooking a particular matchup because you get so caught
Yeah.
up into 5-game series that you're like, hey, let's just slam the Gnar. It's fine in most matchups. Oh crap, Route
There's
two
an Aurelia.
plays Aurelia.
Yeah.
Um, so a little bit of a blunder there by PTL. Nami picked up with the Sivir. It's a fine pairing. You're going to get pushed most of the time, and you can enable Aurelia to go with Sivir ulti, with Nami ulti. Anivia, fine response into what is showed. So it's a short range comp from KOKG, but it's very mobile. Sivir has access to a spell shield, and Aurelia is going to be very hard to hit Qs, right? Now, what I will say is if PTL is able to play around Meganar, get to objectives first, kind of zone with that Anivia ult with the wall, then they have a fighting chance, but they just can't punt the early game, which we'll see what happens, right? Milio picked up with the Varus. Not the best pairing because I feel like in this matchup, Varus wants to go lethality to be able to poke out Sivir. You're not going on hit. If you go on hit, you're putting
I
yourselves
think
in
it's a
a
lot better.
you're putting yourself in a position that's very vulnerable to Sivir Irelia, right? Because you have to play
Yeah,
up.
yeah. I was saying I think on hit Xerath is a lot better with Melio.
Yeah, and so to me that's weird, right? I feel like Varus wants to go poke in this particular game, right? I don't think he ever wants to be close to Irelia or Sivir. So the fact that they
No.
pick the Milio and say like, "Hey, we're gonna play on hit Varus," is kind of tough.
And
Um,
now you get answered by
yep, Akali Vi. So hey, you know that Anivia that does such great zone control? Let me just violate that real quick, Or hey,
yeah.
This Varus that could have been standing far away and poking out this very short range comp, just like that Xerath from
Hey,
last game.
let me violate him.
Yeah, let me go on hit. Be susceptible to all this
Yeah.
short range damage. So Fizz
And
is
then
picked up. It turns out,
Fizz Jungle.
yeah, Fizz jungle, like, I don't know, man. Maybe it's a
I
poppy
don't know.
pick.
We're in game 5, bro.
Maybe
Summer
it's like
Scrapes.
maybe it was dragging it out, saying like this is the pick. Let me carry. I don't know. It's game 5. Like you don't want to leave anything on the table. I'm not gonna fault somebody for picking something. All I can look at is like hey, PTL is probably gonna struggle, right?
Yeah,
If they
yeah.
go
No,
on
I'm
hit
looking at this
Varus,
draft and it's like on
yeah,
hit Bears,
they lose out on
Narin
the Gnar matchup.
Terralia,
Yep.
Akali Anivia is whatever lane.
Well, Akali will win post 6, right?
Yeah, post six Akali wins, but you also need to get that egg out pre six.
Yeah, for sure. But you have the Vi to do it, right? Vi is a great
Yeah,
pick. It's a great enabler into this
I
comp,
love the buy pick from KOKG.
and there's not a lot of answers, right? Yes, the
No,
Anivia could be a
there's
nuisance, but as long as you're playing around the fact that, like, hey, we gotta ult the Anivia, unless Gnar has Mega Gnar or unless Fizz just hits like a crazy ult, I just don't know what PTL does here. You know,
yeah. Let's
um,
see.
PTL to their credit put up a fight. Ratu
Yeah,
didn't get very far ahead into Yupflow, if at all. I mean, he lost out on damage. He did get a little bit of a gold lead, but I feel like that should be way more Aurelia favored, especially when paired with the
yeah.
Vi. Vi didn't get off to the races as early as I would have thought. Now, my
Hmm.
thinking is they tried to play too early. By
I
that
have
I
a
mean,
complaint.
like, you really don't have to do anything for KOKG's comp until you hit 6, right?
Yes.
If you try to play too early, especially on those early drakes, which we don't have access to the dragon stats, but if you
Yeah.
try to play too early, then you could run into this issue of like, yeah, Nivea's gonna beat you up because you're a short range comp. Like, yeah, I know Varus is on hit, but he still has access to the queue. Like, they do have a lot of damage on the bottom side of the map. And Fizz is a great duelist, so I don't know what the early game looked like, but my guess is that PTL put up a fight early around
And
some of these
then
objectives or
come
whatever.
late game, that's just
Yep, just too hard to play.
yeah.
Yeah, Mythic.
Why is this crit buy?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe they were just trying to one shot the squishies. That is kind of
Why do
weird.
we Theo, why is this
That's
crit
also
buy?
probably why I struggled, right? I feel like if you're just the regular bruiser
If
Vi, like
if you're regular bruiser
Triforce,
buy,
like even if you wanted the damage item, if you just went Triforce, it would have been probably better with Conk. But um, regardless, I think at the end of the day, our concerns with the draft started to come to fruition the later the game
yeah,
went. Especially because what should have been a great answer into the Sivir with this Varus, because they opted into the on hit build, Sivir's gonna win that, 9 times out of 10. Um,
100%.
and so kind of a couple blunders. I feel like Narn or Aurelia was scary. Now credit the upflow. Seems like he navigated it well. But then the on hit opting in on hit Varus with this, this short range shotgun comp that KOGG had, it was going to be hard for Dark Archon or Kazsor to keep this guy up. Um, Now, it was a close game. My assumption is that it was close early and then it just got away mid to late. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't have any of the, the objective stats in front of me. But
and I don't think either one of us watched it.
yeah, so 5 game banger, and KOKG walks away the victor. So at the end of the day, the series goes the way we thought. It just wasn't the way we thought it would go.
Yeah, we thought
Um,
it was going to be a much quicker KOKG win.
mhm. So I mean, for PTL, right? They had a very successful season. They took off a game against SG. Now, in the end, it didn't really matter because it was a cross division game. Um, but the fact they're able to be the only team to take off a series against SG was, good on them. Um, they ended up being second seed because of the Atlantis fiasco. They went 5 games into KOKG, and that is just not something I had.
Planned.
Well,
I
I just didn't see that being a possibility, right? Like,
yeah, and I think it's going to be kind of that same thing that we said with All Smite. I think that bumps them up.
well, for sure, it definitely bumps them up. As well as I thought PTO's ceiling was pretty limited, and they went toe to toe with some top tier talent in KOKG. Like, my
100%.
my issues with KOKG is not how they click buttons, and it's not their play individually. It is how they come together in the mid to late.
Yeah,
Um,
it's how they come together as a team.
and so
It's nothing with the players individually.
the fact that PTL was able to go toe to toe with them, bring them to a game five. They had a couple chances in 4 and 5 to close it out. Couldn't quite do it. But the fact that they went to get the game five, I mean, honestly, for PTL,
I've got one. I want to hear what yours is.
ugh. I mean, they showed up so well. They beat SG. They bring KOKG to game five. Hmm. I mean, honestly, I'm torn. I'm gonna go with an A minus. I was thinking B plus or A minus, but for PTL, I don't think at any point, like, yeah, we had them rated highly pretty early on, off of like 1 or 2 series, but I don't think the expectation was to be a title contender for this team. And the fact that they were able to not only beat SG but bring KOKG to a game five just shows that this team, had things gone a little bit differently, whether in drafts or games, whatever it might be, like they could have easily been moving on to the semifinals. And once you do that, who knows? They could have been a finalist. They could have been champ. Um, they you don't get to. They didn't play well into Belmont's, which would have been my hang up. Is like even if they moved on, like that would have been a pretty daunting task for them to try to overcome. But the fact that I think the sum of their parts was greater than they were individually speaks to how well of a team they actually put together and trotted out another rift. So I'll give them A minus. Maybe that's a little bit too high, but I just think being the only team to take a series off SG,
I think
and
it's perfect. I was
and
also gonna say A minus.
yeah, so um, to do that and to take KOKG to game five, I think it was a very successful
Yeah,
season for a team that, even though like you always sign up to win a league, I think realistically most onlookers wouldn't have had high expectations for.
100%.
So a really really solid successful season for PTL. Um, but that's it. I mean, I didn't think this was gonna go. Maybe next. I mean, next time we're gonna have less series, so it won't matter anyways. But we'll see how long these things go. But I do have to thank Dan for not only being willing to come onto the show, but actually contacting me saying, "Hey, let me get on the show." So the last couple guests, yourself and T Die, I'm always appreciative of that because it makes my life scheduling this stuff easier. So thank you for that. Um, Dan, now's your chance to shout out anything you like. I know your Twitch handles in the little box below, but the
I
floor is
mean,
yours.
it was just genuinely a lot of fun to play against everybody I got to play against this split. Obviously, it's sad that we're gone for the rest of this split, but I have faith in my sister team in Belmont's. I know that I'm gonna be cheering them on. Um, I've got friends on other teams too, though. Like I've got friends on SG. I've got friends on KOKG. But I wish everybody luck the rest of the season. They should be some banger games. I mean, we got what? SG KOKG
Mm-hmm.
and then FTD Belmonts this week.
Oh yeah, we didn't do a preview. Let's do that.
Banger games.
Let's do that because you segued ourselves really get into that. So yeah, let's take a look. It's going to be Belmont's Feed the Dream as the semifinals matchup, and then Solus Gaming KOKG. Um,
You see, I see both of these games, but probably going to five. I see both of these going to 5 games.
yeah. So what's interesting is like Belmont's
Uh,
obviously undefeated.
I can nothing against FTD. I think FTD looked stronger than they had the entire split this week
Mhm.
with both reigning and downfall.
Okay.
Um, obviously there were certain games that they looked really well where certain players like had pop off performances. Like I know Ballistic had a couple pop off games, Tame had one or two.
Hmm.
Even with Tame, if Tame comes back, kind of like we were talking about earlier, I think it goes to game five. I think both series end up going to game five this week, which is kind of banger.
Yeah, so let's talk about it. We'll talk about the series and then ultimately what our predictions are. Starting with that Belmont's Feed the Dream matchup. What's interesting to me is, I've been pretty vocal of like, hey, Belmont's is good at punishing mistakes, but if you play him close, it gets a little shaky, right? And we saw from
Yeah.
Feed the Dream some great prep into Mjolnir, and then some really proactive play. And so I'm curious to see what that matchup ends up looking like on the Rift, right? Um,
Well, why don't we just go back and look at it?
well, so that's the thing of it all, right? Is at the end of the day, I can't exactly guarantee who's gonna play on Feed the Dream, right?
Yeah,
uh,
yeah, we don't know how it's gonna go, but I mean, FTD took them to game three
yeah.
in regular season, and
Now,
that was with both. That was not with Tame. They had Raining in, and they had Ballistic
now here,
for game one.
so when
Or
I bring that up, I met with, we were just, I'm pretty sure that was was that the Tycon Kiana draft in game two?
uh,
It was Tycon Nefiri.
yeah, that was the Tycon Nefiri
So
draft.
they won that game. They lost the first game. That's what it
Yeah,
was. Tycon
yeah, they
on
Tycon
Nocturne.
Nocturne,
T-Dice sprinted it.
T-Dye on the and T-Dye kind of sprinted it. I love UT, but
So here's my question, right? For this series, if Raining Wolves isn't playing and it's Tame with Downfall as AD, does that change your prediction
I think it does.
than if Raining Wolves is playing and it's
I
obviously still Downfall as
I
an AD?
think it does.
Okay.
I think Tame is a very good mid laner. Top lane is not Tame's main role. We know it's Raining.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen T-Dye and Raining go at it in lanes. It can
Yep.
go either way. T-Dye to me is one of the best tops in ECL. I think T-Dye just gets the better of Tame in the 1v1 in top lane.
Probably. I mean,
And
he was.
T-Dye's going to be able to just get ahead on that.
Yeah.
And T-Dye is a player from personal experience of duo queuing with T-Dye a bit, and just hanging out with him. T-Dye is a player who is going to be able to transfer these leads into the rest of the game and be able to push them through.
Yeah. Especially
I think it
because
does change.
the way T Dye was talking about Tame, he wasn't very high of his play style. He basically said like Tame won't feed, but will hope his team carries him, right? Whereas
Yeah,
Raining Wolves, he will carry from top. Um,
yeah.
so
And
it definitely will
I,
change.
I think it goes from a 3-2 in either direction to a 3-1. And I think without Tame, I think I put it 3-1 Belmonts. Or with Tame, I put it 3-1
Okay.
Belmonts.
So I
With
think
Raining,
for locking in our
I
predictions, we're gonna assume it's Raining top because
if it
what that's what they played in
if
quarters.
we assume it's Raining top,
It's kind of tough, huh?
the thing is I can see it going either way.
Yeah.
I
So
legitimately, I think this goes to game five. I don't think it ends before game five. But in that fifth game, I think it can go either way. It depends whose mental is better in that game.
lock it
It
in.
depends how the coaches prep. Belmont's 3-2.
Okay. It's interesting you bring up coaches. I'm not gonna air anybody's dirty laundry. What I will say is that one of these teams seems to be very tight knit and the chemistry is, you know, through the roof right now. And another one of these teams, that is not the case.
Yeah.
And with that in mind, I'm going 3-1 Feed the Dream.
The other reason I'm going 3-2 Belmonts is because obviously I talk with all of Belmonts.
Uh-huh.
I know they're pissed after what happened in Titan.
Okay, fair
After
enough.
after the 3-0 against them by JR Village Rats and Titan.
That's true.
They're gonna come out hungry for this. Because I know Buckby wanted to go 3 for 3, winning BOL, winning Titan, and Ember.
Mm-hmm.
He's messaged me about it. Me and him have talked about it. Buckby's not going. Buckby's going to come out strong. The whole
Yeah.
team is.
And I hear that. I just I think Feed the Dream impressed me with their prep. They showed a level of proactiveness that I still just haven't seen from Belmonts. Now, I'm not saying Belmonts can't achieve it, especially if they're hungry, like you're saying. I just, a big part of me thinks that Feed the Dream they're peaking at the right time, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
they're hot at the right time.
Um, and I'm gonna go Feed the Dream 3-1. Now I do agree. Like honestly, I think the series can go either way. I just think with the momentum the Feed the Dream has, and the fact that both these teams are hungry. Like Belmont's, of course, they lost Titan, and so they're gonna want to finish out their split or their season with another chip. But on the opposite side, Feed the Dream wants to be the team that takes down the undefeated. The number one
Yeah.
overall seed, and so I think both these teams are obviously in it to win it. I just there's some things that I think Feed the Dream are in a better
And
position to capitalize on.
I'm going to go as far to say this. I think the team that wins this week between FTD and Belmonts probably wins ECL.
Yeah, I think that's the general consensus that whoever wins topside is probably gonna win um, the the bracket. But speaking of the bracket, we gotta talk about Solus versus KOKG.
Oh
Um,
boy.
so this is a series we did see as well. Obviously, what's kind of nice is it makes it guaranteed that it's different divisions represented in the finals. Um, I This one's hard.
Yeah.
Well, I think here's what I'll say. While Belmont's and Feed the Dream can offer a 5-game series because of their prep and their players and all these things that are really good to talk about, I think Solus and KOKG can offer a 5-game series for not so good reasons. by that I mean
I'd agree.
by that I mean we talked about how KOKG thrives on an individual basis, and that if they get leads, they're really adept at closing games out. But they've had a kind of a finicky draft issue where they lock themselves into some difficult to execute win conditions. But on the other side, Solus is due for a slump. like
I
especially
do want to
Lewis. I think Lewis is due for a slump.
Lou is due. Lou is due. I love you,
And
Lou, but
I'm not saying that as a like I think they're overperforming. I'm saying that as I look at the data and what it tells me is that we're very coin flippy in mid.
yeah.
And I
I
don't think that's where you want to be with the team like KOKG. With JRCC, you take away the threat of Linda, you're at a very good spot, right? Because
yeah.
Linda's the main
Yeah.
carry. With KOKG, it's not gonna fly. Even if you can nullify um Solo Rusher. And that
Now,
that to me kind of scares me.
the thing that I want to point out, the last time these two teams played,
SG1.
SG won 2-1.
Yep. That's
But
close.
SG also didn't have Jake.
That is Jake. Coffee
Oh,
Dragon, he name
was Coffee
changed.
Dragon? I
Yeah.
forgot he name changed. That's
Yeah.
right.
So he did have they don't have a new bell
I was
ringer
gonna
coming
say
in.
I forgot that Jake name changed it.
Yeah. So, but it was a
I
close series. And so QSC keeps talking about how KOKG would have won if their team wasn't put together so late. And Jake, when he was on the show, said honestly it could have been either way. So I think
This is the week
regardless,
that we're gonna see it. This is I see this game going to game 5 more than I see Belmont's FTD.
yeah, I'm seeing a 5 game. Um,
I'm taking SG though.
3-2.
3-2.
Yeah, I
SG.
think I think I'm gonna do the same. I,
I think
only because of the
Jake
prep. Solus Gaming, they scrim, they prep well. Other than that weird game 3 draft, I thought all their drafts
I,
against Jolly Rogers was
yeah,
fine. Um, KOKG, they show up and play, which is fine. I just think there's a level of preparation. I think Jake, Jake and Thero. I think Jake edges out Thero in terms of the
I
the
think
better
it's
overall jungler.
slight, but I think it is Jake.
Uh-huh. And
Um,
here's what I'll say. I'll talk about how KOKG can win.
yeah,
If KOKG and Solar Rusher can nullify Lewis, um, SG's in a very vulnerable spot. Um,
that's true.
but for SG, I think they have their blueprint kind of figured out. And I think for KOKG, they're still lacking that part, right? Other than like, hey, if Thero gets unlocked and like they win in the early game, we'll win. Like that's kind of loose. That's kind of like loose ground to stand on in a playoff series.
Yeah,
Um, so I think it's gonna be a close series. I agree. I think it's 3-2 Solus. But at the end of the day, I can see either team taking it. It's gonna depend on obviously a lot of different variables for all four of these teams. But I like the momentum of Feed the Dream, and I like the prep for Solus. Those are my two. What
I'd
sets
agree.
those apart. So
I'd agree.
all right. So
Oh,
even though I cut you off for your remarks, Dan, once
no, you're,
again,
you're good.
I appreciate you for coming on. I'm sorry I took you for almost 3 hours. I didn't think you'd
No,
go this long.
I'm fine with it. It was fun.
Yeah. That's
It was a
that's the
good
thing is
time.
like people are like, how can you talk about games? I'm like, bro, League is so fun to talk
Bro,
about.
I genuinely did not realize this was almost three
Yeah,
hours.
yeah. So
Like I thought we were going for maybe like an hour 45, 2 hours.
yeah. So I enjoyed the conversation, Dan. I'll shout out you
As
once
did I.
again, Dan722 on Twitch. Do you have a schedule you're planning on doing, or is it just kind of like when you feel like it?
Mostly I'm like I'll make a more primary schedule going forward, but like I streamed every game pretty much, every scrim, every
Gotcha.
tryout I did.
So you're on a
So
lot when
yeah.
when
Yeah,
when
I'm
you're on
on a
a
lot. I'm
team.
also streaming Tarkov Zombies. I'm gonna be streaming all of my Rocket League competitive games with the new GCC Rocket League team that we're building.
Cool,
So
cool. Well, looking
yeah.
forward to it. Once again, thank you all for watching another Fireside podcast. I knew last time I said there's going to be another coach's corner. I just came back from vacation. Work's been kind of whatever, so I think that'll still happen. I just don't know when. But by that point, the patch has been out for a while. But you can look forward to that. Shout out to Ember for putting on another successful split. Obviously, some things to look at and adjust going forward, but we appreciate the efforts that have been given there. And shout out to Forge for doing all this kind of cool stuff. So,
True.
um, with that, for me and Dan, it's been fun. That's been Fireside, and we will see you after ECL semifinals. Peace.